Well, hello and welcome everyone. Hopefully, everyone out there in Chatland can hear us. Welcome to the game and Happy New Year to everyone out there. Uh, so, this is the return and the first game of the year for
Woo-hoo.
Seriously Let's Play, which is our series of indie games to some extent, but games that you don't often see actual plays for. And this is also our community game where we pull casts from the people who make up our community, as well as creators, artists, and everything out there. So if you are yourself watching this and you are a creator or you are a gamer and you would like to get in on actual plays, you have an opportunity to come and join us on our Discord and be cast in one of these. That said, before we get going too far, I want to be sure to thank Crafty Games for the opportunity to play this today. We're playing Mistborn, which is a game by uh, Brandon Sanderson, because I will say the last name wrong, but Crafty Games made the adventure game for this, which is a role playing tabletop game, and they also made this is the board game, which is called House Wars. The so the role playing game focuses more on the public and the kind of lower end story, while the board game focuses on the noble houses. It's actually called House War, and it's all about the feudal fighting between the groups. So you get both sides of the story depending on which game you're playing. That said, before we get going too far into my whole spiel about what this game is and what we're playing, I want to go ahead and take a moment to introduce my players for the day to you. So let's go ahead and start up with top left corner on my layout. Let's go ahead and have Ted, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm Ted. If you've watched Seriously Let's Play, you're probably familiar with me by now since this is where I tend to run most of my games. I am playing as Beck, who is kind of a crew boss leader. He is a kind of badger-esque gentleman thief type. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, awesome. Well, let's keep going around. We also have joining us today for the first time, we have Asu. So, Asu, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Asu. I've been playing tabletop RPGs for near on 10 years now, starting with D&D 3.5, like a lot of us. Um, this is the first time I've done anything with Mistborn at all, and I will be playing Coil today.
Yeah, one of the Mistborns within the group. And we're going to keep moving through. So, going on down, Sean, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Sean. You probably, if you watch our channel, you've seen me on Illuminated Pages, The Voyages of, and Seriously Let's Play, and whatever other game I can finagle myself into. Mistborn for me is a huge thing. It was probably my top 10 favorite fantasy settings. And today I'll be playing Tharo. He is a pewter arm, so I'm basically your meat tank shield muscle.
All right, and onwards, we're going to go ahead and say hi to Rue.
Hello, hello. You all should know me pretty well. Um, I'm on everything usually, except for this show. But yeah, I tend to be. I'm gonna be GMing Horror on the Orient Express starting Sunday night. Monday night, I'm not in this season, but the Voyages of Star Trek show, and then on Thursday nights, Growing Shadows. And sometimes you can find me once a month, maybe on CFT RPG on Twitch TV, um, playing in a Curse of Strahd Savage Worlds port. So you can find me. I'm at Ruworks everywhere. So
All right. Well, that said, and this I should have done this before because we're in a new year. New seasons are starting with the channel. If you are on Twitter, you can go follow us at Rook and Rasp, and we've got our schedule up there. But going over it really quick, tomorrow I believe we are kicking off our Call of Cthulhu game with Illuminated Page for the campaign that is Horror on the Orient Express. So that starts up tomorrow. Monday, Star Trek Adventures returns with the cast of Serenitis to continue their adventures. And then, is it this Thursday? Is also Growing Shadows? And so, Ninja Crusade, which is a independent game from Third Eye Games, I've been GMing it first in podcast form, and now we've moved into actual plays. We're on our third season, and I'd love for everybody to come back and check that game out. If you love ninjas, Naruto, and of course, who doesn't love the tale of the Empire versus the Lone Warriors? Uh, this is what that game is about, and we'd love to have everybody come out and check it out. And then we'll be back again next Saturday with Kids on Bikes. We're going to be doing a makeup game of our holiday session that we had planned, but we had, you know, life events happen. That is a rule with our channel, is that real life always comes first. And so if a life event happens or something's going on, we cancel game and let people, take care of life, because that's definitely more important than any of this. So, that said, I think that gets most of the stuff out of the way for the next week. We'll probably be making more announcements as time goes on. Let's go ahead and get into Mistborn. So, Mistborn is a setting by Brandon Sanderson, and if you are a reader and you enjoy fiction and fantasy novels, you probably know his work. Brandon Sanderson loves, from my limited experience, it seems that he has a ability to write about new magic systems, and at the same time in these worlds, a different way of perceiving deities and gods. The world of Mistborn is no different, and just to really sum it up, there is and was a god, who now everyone now knows as, I believe it's the Lord. Somebody help me out with that.
Lord Ruler.
Lord Ruler. Sorry, I was about to say Lord Emperor, and I knew that was not right. But the Lord Ruler, he ascended to godhood, remade the planet in his own image, and then took up the mantle of its ruler, sitting on the throne as a Mistborn. Now, a Mistborn in this world is a person that can utilize magic. Magic is very rare in this world. It is mainly held by nobles, and those nobles closely guard it. A person who can use all the different types of magic is called a Mistborn. And then there are the people who can only use one type of magic, and they have special names. Magic in this world is utilized through metals, and every metal, the not all metals have a magic assigned to it, but every magic has a metal, and those metals, the people who use it consume it or burn it in a certain way, and that is what gives them their power or their magic. Uh, and so that's really a good way of looking at it. Uh, I will also go ahead and toss out there the warning that when he remade this world and the way this world is written, it is a feudal society. Uh, Nobles have been genetically or through creation engineered to be bigger, better, more attractive, whatever. The rest of the population, known as the Ska, are not as big, uh, not as strong usually. They don't usually have magic powers, and they are treated a lot of times by the nobles as cattle. So there are elements of feudal society and also, depending on how you look at it, slavery. And so if that is something that is uncomfortable for you or something that you do not want to address or deal with, I fully understand. I think my table would understand that if this is not the show or game for you. But at the same time, if this is something that you want to explore and want to talk about, most role playing games in the fantasy setting are always about the idea that there is something horrible out there that you're fighting against. And so this is a setting where we have that opportunity. Uh, and with that, I think we're going to start up our game so that everybody can get into this. We have, I won't say a limited amount of time, but I don't want to take up everybody's day doing this. But let's have some fun. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Sounds like
Sounds
a
good.
plan.
All right, so we're going to kick it off and we're going to have some sounds and music to give an introduction. All right. So it is the time of the final empire in the central district. Somewhere in the northern portion of the province, we find our team. Now, depending on where luck finds you, my players, your rump is either bouncing comfortably on a thinly wrapped seat in a carriage, at the lead of a procession, or on the hardened wood spaces provided in the wagon that's following behind. Uh, One may deem to call what you're traveling on a road, perhaps a path, but compared to the consistently cleared ways of Luthadel, it's more of a thinly veiled hint that something could choose to travel here. Uh, it's been many days since your crew ventured to one of the lesser nobles to aid or help them for a job. Now, it turns out that the time for the noble to pay their taxes to the Lord Ruler had approached, and their storehouses were nowhere near full enough to survive this season. So a representative of the noble approached your leader, Beck, and with a proposition to take more than what was needed from a nearby competing hold. It was a simple enough job with the promise of funds, which he delivered. And of course, after the job, he then charged an obscene sum for you to return to the city. Now, this actually made you all chuckle a bit because, after all, you initially set this entire thing into motion from the beginning with the steady loss of goods via smuggling and contraband for the past few months, let alone the ownership. It's not that big a deal for him to charge you since really you didn't need his help. The wagon was nice, but you have your own carriage. So, with these details and understanding a little bit about this crew and your place within it, I like to involve my players a bit and let us get to know what you see in your character. What do you think you would have done? What do you think would have been your part to play in this mission that you had just completed? I like to give you all a little bit of narrative control to say, yeah, this is what I did, and no roles are required. Just give me an idea of how you see your character having contributed to that job. Would anybody like to volunteer to start?
My part is always the same. I am Lady Sena, or Lady Sabelle, and I just, get people to look another way. Distraction, tell a joke here or there, things like that.
Who else would like to say for their character how they would have contributed?
Well, I mean, I am Beck. I'm the crew leader, so I would have been one of the masterminds behind the whole shindig, and also the one that the nobles would have approached through Lady Sabelle.
My role's the same as always. They tell me what to hit, I hit it.
And for me, whether by light persuasion or by a heavy dagger, I take the things that we need.
Well, now as a crew, you are returning as covertly as possible away from the main road, since rumor of an obligator and some soldiers were already being dispatched from the capital to look into reported discrepancies. And, well, by week's end, the Empire may be short a noble or two. You and your team just will have the opportunity to fade into the city, another part of the forgettable masses. Now, the night that you left, the mists were thick. And I want to explain this for our viewers and players. In this world, there is a mist that seems to descend and come along, especially at night. It is held in fear, awe, and trepidation, usually by the public. When the mist comes, the common serf runs for cover. They huddle in their buildings and do their best not to travel through it. There are rumors that there are monsters that live in the mist, creatures. Some people swear that their souls are stolen by the mist. And so the idea is this, not to touch it. Obviously, our crew here is a little bit more educated and knows that maybe there are things out in the mist, but for the most part, people are probably a lot more dangerous than the mist or what could be hiding in it. But you are beginning the final leg of your journey, and the mist has started to clear as you crest a hill, and in the distance you now can see Luthadel, the walled city where your crew is from. Luthadel, for the most part, you see this great wall surrounding the city, and you are coming out of the north. Within the city are mainly structures that are nondescript, don't really stand out. Two-story buildings that are a mixture of, clay, wood, slate roofs. Very simple and do not stand out. A great packing of them in various areas. And throughout the city, dotted ever so often, you see these larger buildings and spires that kind of stick up. Noble holdings. These are the keeps. It is considered a big deal amongst the nobles to have a keep in the city. That's one of the ways that you get close to the Lord Ruler and make yourself stand out. It is, it's a sign of station. You're saying that, hey, my family is here. And because all the other nobles, they're going to be sending their tithes, and they're going to send their taxes and their people to interact with the ministry there in the city. Now, beyond the city, you also see the volcano. Wind is picked up, and the ashfall is going to be coming into the area. Just like the mist, the ash is ever present, and it just coats everything. It coats the carriages, coats clothing. In the city where you're from, you're used to the streets being constantly cleared by groups of ska. And constantly might not be the best word, at least consistently cleared. It's probably one of the biggest jobs there is there. But the good news is, with the cover of Ashfall coming, it won't be suspicious to redirect from the to the Iron Gate and the Hotel District, avoiding the Steel Gate and the nearby garrison. Still, the gatehouses are never truly inviting, and you can never be too sure when a member of the ministry may be nearby. Getting back to the hideout free, clear, and easily forgotten might take a bit of work. So as we approach the city, let's craft the scene together and work to get the team into the city as nonchalantly as possible, and we can explain the way the mechanics work and get everybody a little bit more comfortable with that here in the game. So let's just say that as your wagons approach, I'll give everyone this opportunity if there is something you want to discuss or a way that you think that your character is going to help contribute to getting into the gates. And I'll let y'all talk that through. And maybe Beck, if you have a way you want to describe your carriage, since in the lead is your carriage.
Yeah, so the carriage itself is nothing too fancy. Beck kind of puts himself as kind of a lower middle class merchant, basically. That's his disguise. So he's wealthy enough to have a carriage and a nice suit and a pocket watch and a cane and everything, but nowhere near as nice as what the noble houses would have. So it is a sturdy, well-built carriage, but not very fine, not very painted, not very gilt. As for getting back in, I believe my specialty is that I'm well connected and I have resources 10. So I think we definitely would have diverted to a gate where I have the guards bribed to let us pass.
So, for clarification, are you a ska merchant, or are you just ska pretending to be a noble merchant?
I am a ska pretending to be a noble merchant.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I do see you are known as an upright citizen as well. All right. So, you're saying that your reputation is 10? Is that what you want to use for yours?
I think that's what we're gonna go with. Reputation 10, well connected.
Is it
I got a nice
reputation or
carriage.
resources?
It's in his resiliences that he has a reputation of 10.
Okay, okay. I misunderstood.
I think I said resources earlier. My apologies. Different system.
No, that's okay. I was like, oh, what do I don't have very many resources. Crap.
Well, either you're paying your way in, or you get the reputation to let your way in. Either one's good.
All right. I will do this. I will say that with your reputation, difficulty is 1 to get you in. For every person that you're going to try and bring with you, if they're not going to find their own way in, I'm going to increase the difficulty a little bit. Now, obviously, I will also say that those people, their traits can contribute. So let me pause and explain the mechanics a little bit to our audience as well.
But I have a fistful of dice. I want to roll the fistful of dice.
Who doesn't want to roll a fistful of dice?
But isn't it if we help you, you get more dice?
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, you get pushes. Let's get to that. So, in Mistborn, in this game system, all you're going to be using are D6s. D6s are used for everything, and this is one of the more unique systems that I think I've ever come across. My understanding is that when Brandon Sanderson was working with people at Crafty Games to make this, he specifically asked that he wanted to see a little bit of the flavor and feel of the old West End games Star Wars. That was one of his favorite role-playing games. And I'm not as familiar with that, so I don't know how much of this pulls in. But for a dice pool game, this is not about necessarily what you roll. What you roll is important, but rather than looking for a specific number for you to roll, it is about rolling doubles. So doubles, triples, quadruples, quintuples, whatever. We want you to roll a multiple of times out of that dice pool. So that's just the first part of this. And
Looking for Yahtzee.
yeah. Moving into that, I think we'll go ahead and let Beck give his way of getting in the gate, and we'll use that as the example thereof. Who else is going to try and go in with Beck? Who doesn't feel like, if you are feeling uncomfortable with this and want Beck to get you in, or if you can't really think of a way.
Well, as we ride in the carriage, I assume we're all together. I would point out that someone of my stature and my reputation would have Ska probably traveling with me to some degree. So there's only 4 of us. There's 2 of us that have a reputation that can easily get us through the gates. And having the Ska with us, it is what it is. I don't think this is going to be that hard. We've gone in and out of Luthadel countless times. They would not question who I travel with.
Then Tharo would be at the head of the carriage in front of the horses because he's their main bodyguard, and would be like that confidence and just like, no, we're not stopping for the gates. We're just going to push on through and use that determination and strength of character just to push on through because they know who we are. There's not going to be stopping of us.
And if they question, bully to them. I'd like to see what they do.
Bully.
Yeah, that wasn't the right word, but I'd like to see what they do. This will be fun. Let the trainees question Lady Sibel.
All right, so I'm going to assign my difficulty, and I am going to say that right now, and let me also ask before we get too far along. Is Coel going to also join in this role, or do you want to try and get in on your own?
I think I'm going to stay along with everyone, I'd probably be on the right sort of back side of the cart, looking like the back guard, of which I am. And so I'm definitely trying to blend in with this group, which I am a part of.
All right, I'm going to ask, and this is actually going to be something from the fiction, and I know that you're not as familiar with that, so I will give a little bit of guidance. And that is, I am wondering if your character is going to be wearing a Mistborn cloak. Well, and here's the thing: you have a noble with you, who the Mistborn are oftentimes the bodyguards, fighters, and protectors of noble houses. And oftentimes guards, when there's a Mistborn around, they act like there is not anybody around. So,
I mean, they don't generally just wear them about though. They only wear them when they're traveling in the mists. So I mean, if it's
camouflage.
nighttime and you want to
Nobles
just like
keep
scale
who
the
is
wall,
a Mistborn very, very secret.
Yes. So I believe I would keep my Mistborn cloak and my Mistborn vials inside the cart. Useful when they're useful. This might be a little bit too much of a red flag. Enough of a reason for some trainees to be like, I'm gonna look like somebody today. So I'll leave those in the cart.
awesome. All right. Well, that said, I am going to set the difficulty for getting into town. It's our first roll. I'm just going to put it at a 2. This is challenging. Now, on top of that, we're going to say that you know, Ted, your character, Mr. Beck, you have a dice pool of 10. Everyone, maximum dice pool is a 10. Every trait past that gives a push. And we will explain the push after the roll is made. But we need to see how many traits we are over on that really quickly. So, let's go ahead and say, obviously we have the noble bearing, I believe, is one of your traits for Sena, for Lady Sibel. So that would be the trait coming from there. That's one trait. Ted, did you have any other traits or anything that would add on top of that for your character?
Well connected, and the coach itself also counts as one. So that'd be
It
2
is
from me.
equipment, so that's 3. Technically 3 pushes. And then, Sean, do you have a trait that would add to this?
Drive, making the nobility suffer. So sneaking in without being caught could apply to that. I also have the profession of bodyguard, which would lend credence to the whole noble merchants coming into the city.
Yeah, but under your traits and burdens, I think you had actually mentioned this. I should have gone with it. You had said you were determined.
Determined, yeah, personality.
You're
yeah.
near the front of it. You're showing that look as you're approaching.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead and go with determined. So I think I had said 3 previously, so we're now at 4. And then for Coel, we're going to be looking for a trait or something that could add with that. And,
I think I'm going to go with profession burglar, specifically as knowing what exactly the guards are going to be looking for in suspicious types and doing whatever isn't that.
All right. So that puts you at technically 5 pushes. I mean, you're looking at a dice pool of 15. Now I'm going to toss in there. There is a member of the ministry there, as you're pulling up to the gates, and I'm going to drop your. I'm going to say that. So that's a 1 penalty right there. So it's going to put you back down at 14. All right. So that means 10 dice to roll, 4 possible pushes. We'll explain how pushes work here in just one moment. But Ted, if you want to go ahead and roll those 10 dice.
All right, so I got my 10 dice. Whew, okay, 1 sec. So there's 2 6s, so that bumps me back up to 6 pushes.
Jeez,
There are 2 5s, 3 4s, so I'm going to go with those 2 5s and 6 pushes.
Okay, so 2 5s and 6 pushes. Now what happened there we're going to start it off. So he has 2 5s. So 5 is the number he rolled. I set the difficulty at 2. Is essentially what I said. It's going to be challenging. So we take that 5, which is his doubles, subtract 2, and that gives us a 3 for the final tally. Now, if he had no pushes, that would be a 3 on a chart that comes with the book. And that means that you did amazing getting back into town. But no, you just had to go and have 6 pushes total on top of that, pushing us to 9, which knocks you into the ballpark of godlike coming through that gate. So, and that doesn't mean that you look like a god coming through the gate. That means that this is, the ultimate success. You're coming in, and so narration. This is the way the game works. It is all about telling the story, narration, taking those, the way that the roles are done, and everything else for us to build up everything. So you are approaching the gate, and under the guidance of Tharo, sorry, you make your way around the other carriages waiting in line and just breeze past them to some extent, but at a pace where you're not just rushing to get to the gate, you're going at a methodical, plodding pace that basically says, I don't care who you think you are, to all the other carriages waiting to get in and all the other wagons. For those who are probably ska coming out of the fields or bringing goods, they don't even look up. You're at that level with the pace coming into that, the sense of importance. They don't even raise their eyes. They don't want to draw your attention. Kind of feels a little bit good to some extent, and maybe a little bit of a chuckle from some of y'all. But as you approach and get to that gate, the guards there, they do know you, and they are some of the people that you have paid off. So they don't even need to know that you are in the wagon. And maybe there is a brief, moment where the curtain parts and Lady Sibel is visible, and just for the briefest moment. And Lady Sibel is also known as a striking beauty, I believe. There was a physical ability that I believe your character has, and they're just like, oh, and everybody moves out of the way. Even the minister kind of doesn't pay attention. It's like his back is to you. He's like, okay, they're important. Who is this person in front of me now? And you make it through the gate, and now you are in the city proper, in the hotel district, let alone. So I think we can definitely say that was successful, and that hopefully gives everyone a little taste of how the mechanics work. So you make your way further into the city, and nothing stands out here. That is one of those things about Luthadel that kind of gives you a better impression of what the city is. There are larger roads. Oh, definitely. And maybe it's the road in front of a building that gives it a little bit more station. But leading away into these rickety alleys and streets that cross like cobwebs, buildings are close together, and none of them stand out. And few of them really have any signage or anything to know what you're looking at. They're all the same color. They're all covered in that clay and wood exterior with that slate roof that just says, welcome to Luthadel. I hope you like it here, and I'm being very facetious. So, this also puts you very close to, and let me find that here really quick. It puts you very close to a certain portion of the city. And that being where most of you are a little bit more familiar with, and that is the Twists. Leading further into the Aspen Row and the Ashwarns eventually. More than likely, your safe house is somewhere in that area. The wagon comes to a stop. You probably have a stable or someplace where you keep it normally. And the opportunity to disembark is there. A few of the other members of your crew, and I'm going to say that those members that make up the crew, and this is if you are playing Mistborn, these are the characters that are presented directly inside of the book itself for Mistborn, and you can also, I believe, go online to Drive Through RPG and look at these characters and see what's on there. Uh, the rest of the characters that are in this package, they disembark and to some extent scatter, and that's kind of understandable. You just pulled a big job. Everybody's got a little bit more, money in the pocket. But at the same time, it's better not for everybody to be seen together until everyone's certain that there's no bad, outcome from this job. It's time to go to ground is the best way to put it. So the four of you, though, is there anything in particular y'all are going to be doing, or is it pretty much go straight to the hideout?
And do we have anything we need to unload and hide away before we go?
Not really. I mean, obviously there's the money, and it's just a matter of you have some spoils? Are y'all going to go find a bar, or is there something else you're going to do?
I could go for a meal.
I would look over at Taro, hearing him say that, and I'd kind of nod, wordlessly agreeing, but still kind of jittery, kind of looking around.
Beck is going to congratulate everyone on a job well done, and then go through his normal ritual of switching into his not as nice clothes and taking his roundabout route to make sure he's not being followed back home to his family, where he's going to spend the rest of the evening. Because Beck, the character, is a family man.
Okay. So, Beck, I want to say that you make your way out into the city. It's still early enough, even with the ashfall in this portion with the hotel district, that there are people moving about a little bit more than sounds the city. The industrial and crafting section, which is further to the southeast, you ever so often can hear the clinking of some blacksmithing stalls, or you hear the sounds of other stables in the distance. But you make your way to your home. We're gonna say the group kind of splits up a little bit for a moment. So, Lady Sibel, are you going to go with them to go eat, or are you going to break off as well? Say no, sorry.
Sorry, I had a mic issue. I will probably. I run with Sev a little bit, so there's another member of the crew. So I will probably stick to him for the time being. We will go have dinner and a drink, likely. Sev's always drinking.
All right. So then I'm going to say for Coel and Tharo, you make your way to a smaller establishment closer into the twists that services ska of your stature. And it's a little bit rougher area, but at the same time, as you're moving through the city, you notice that a lot less beggars out than you're used to. Yeah, it's enough that you're like, huh, well, this is a little bit different. Something's not quite right with this, but who knows? Maybe they all decided to find someplace to get out of the way with the storm.
That's odd. Usually there's many beggars out. I wonder if the Iron Ministry must have done another sweep.
Certainly something's got them riled up, probably more than we might like.
Nothing we can do about it, I guess. Let's just go find somewhere to eat.
And the farther we are from the rest of them, the better we're gonna look.
True.
All right. Well, as you're there, of course, it's something between a porridge and a gruel. Not much in the way of food, but it is hearty, and it's stored a little ways away from the large hearth with as little ash as possible in it. But as you two are eating, an individual walks up. Fairly well dressed, ska, but with a tall stovepipe hat and kind of a rumpled suit. Kind of, it's an attempt to be nice and look nice, but not enough to really be like, say, Beck's, look. Beck looks the part. This guy, it's more like he wants to look the part. Pleased to see you, friends. Name's Teviger. I was wondering if you'd be willing to share a drink with me, and maybe we could talk for a moment.
Well, for one, I'm not your friend. For two, I don't know you. Why do you want to drink with us?
I think I might have something that's we could call a mutually beneficial business arrangement.
I'm gonna look at. Correct me if I'm wrong. Quell, right? Is that how we're saying it? Okay. I'm gonna look at Quell and kind of give him an arched eye. I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't do business. I work in the cannery.
Look, I have a lot of respect for you and a few of your friends. Pass this off, and he slides a kind of ruddy-looking piece of paper across the table. This has a very simple symbol on it. Pass this off to one of the one of the homeless or beggars over towards Aspen Row, and they will come get me, and we can have a talk later. I think that you would like to hear what I have to say, and I promise you, it pays well. And he tips a hat to Coel and makes his way out the door.
I definitely give him a cocked eyebrow as he walks away, and as soon as his full face is away, I look at Toro and just, what do you make of this?
It's above my pay grade. I think we should get this to Beck.
That said, Beck, you go ahead and give me a little bit of an idea of how you spend the evening with your family.
So Beck's family has no idea what he does for a living. Clothes, plays with his kids, makes sure his wife is happy. He takes care of anything that she needs him to take care of at the time, but he's mostly going to spend as much time playing with his kids as he can, and then probably settles down in front of the fire with his wife afterwards to just kind of chat about the day and talk about the gossip going on around town.
Uh, for the most part, gossip is fairly simple, but she presents something. She's like, you won't believe, and passes across the table a fairly nice set of wooden jewelry. And I should explain this. In this world, jewelry is not often metals or gems. More often than not, it is well painted and lacquered wood or other elements similar to that. And for a member of the ska to have it, and they're not normally trying to pretend to be somebody, they are. It's odd, and it would stand out, and it would maybe draw the wrong kind of attention.
Where did we get this? I don't remember doing that well at the shop.
One of the ladies that does laundry near here got paid in that. I didn't think it was wise for them to have it, and I figured maybe you would know either way to get back to whoever's it was, or you know, something. I mean, I don't think she understood, but that somebody paid for their laundry with that, and I told her it was dangerous to have it. Now I figured maybe maybe you knew a merchant who it was originally from.
I'm trying to think, would that be a wits roll to see, like, if I recognize the craftsmanship or if I remember seeing any nobles wearing this jewelry recently at the last feast, or
I think that wits would be great for that. You could possibly go with one of the other, maybe not so much resources or influence. Yeah, I think wits might be your best bet.
all right, 4 dice. Can I hate to be a broken pony, but can I pull on the well connected again?
I
To
definitely
get it
think that
right?
would fit. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's 2 6s, but no doubles otherwise.
All right. So technically, in order to have successes, you still have to achieve a double. So
My loaded dice that always turn up 6 are not going to be good for this system.
uh,
I don't recognize it, but I might know a merchant that could probably get this to safer hands. Uh, how much do we owe your friend?
oh, I already took care of it. I just thought it was unwise for it to be out in the city in this area.
Well, I'll speak to the other merchants and see if I can maybe find a fixer or someone that can take care of this. For now, let's keep it somewhere secure, and he'll tuck it into like maybe the wood pile or something by the fireplace until he has a chance to get it back to the base.
All right. Now for Cole, or not Coel, Lady Sibel, you said you were going to go with someone else.
Yeah, I tend to stick with Sev now and again. I've worked with him for a long time, and he's technically kind of the leader of the group, right?
Beck is actually the letter.
Oh, is he? Okay. Sev gives a lot
Sev
of orders.
thinks
He
he's the
barks.
leader.
Sev thinks he's okay. There we go. There we go. And I stick with him. Love him very much, but he seems to think he's looking out for me. But I feel like he's kind of keeping me on a leash mostly. But for now, I stick with him.
While you're out and looking around with him, or grab something to eat, I will say that you see a lot more ska, like heavies, roaming about, kind of almost a patrol. But really, they glance your way at the two of you and just keep on moving. Which, if they were thieves or cutthroats, they probably would have paid a little bit more attention to you. But it comes across more like they aren't looking for you.
You see that?
He nods. Yeah, probably new gang or new territory or something going on. Just petty squabs between the lower crews.
Well, let's ignore it for now.
All right. So I'm gonna say that for the evening, your characters take a small break right there, and breaks within the game are moments between events that take place. We're just gonna say that this is a good place for that to happen. There are things that would take place with a break, but we're not gonna worry about those right now since we're just getting into the game. But the next day, you have the opportunity, and you all meet up yet again.
I think the first thing Beck would do is find Say and say, "Do you remember any of the ladies wearing this?" And he'll hand her the costume jewelry.
He held it to me. Do I? Do I remember any of the ladies
I,
wearing it, John?
I think it's safe to say that it's not as familiar for you. It's not something that you know off of any noble in particular, but I would say at the same time that it's fair quality. Uh, it's not, this would be something that maybe a lady in waiting would have, or a house, house steward, somebody that a noble is trying to dress up.
Where did you come about? When did this come into your possession? I don't recall it from any of the last jobs we've worked.
Nah, Sky washerwoman down the street from us was paid in it, apparently. I was trying to figure out if it was a thief trying to pawn off some of their ill-gotten goods.
That is very likely. I can't imagine any other reason why the washerwoman would be paid in it. That doesn't sound normal.
Well, gotta keep our ears open. See if anyone starts complaining about jewelry gone missing or servants stealing stuff.
Have you talked to the washerwoman to ask where she got it? Like who?
Not yet, no.
We saw some odd. Seven I saw some odd things happening. It felt like people watching us, but also trying not to watch us. Last night, it was very strange. It's a weird night. I don't know. Something felt off.
Well, night after a job, gotta keep our noses low. Burrow, well, how'd your night go? Anything weird?
Yeah.
Very.
For one, there were like less beggars out than normal. It's like the ministry did a sweep or something. And with that, I'm gonna nudge Cole and be like, "You tell him."
Well, along with that, a interesting character came and offered us something that we think you might be interested in looking at, Beck. Then I hand him the note that the strange huckster man handed us.
So, taking
I
the
kind
note,
of crane over and look at it too.
Ska, merchant, noble.
Yeah, he kind of looked like you, just more uncomfortable.
Right. Fixer. Got it. Glance at the paper. You said there was a symbol or something on it?
Yeah, just a very crude symbol of a top hat.
He said to give it to a ska beggar in some street. Yeah, I can't remember because it's been a moment.
Yeah,
Hey.
the directions were to give it to a beggar or somebody working off the streets in Aspen Row, and they would know
Yeah.
and come find him.
So I played dumb. We didn't give him any names. He came off to us, acted super friendly, and I was like, "Nah, this is for Beck to decide."
He went
Wo-
out of his way to call us both friend.
Yeah, very few call me friend.
Would I know of any gangs or crews operating off Aspen Row that might use a top hat as their ID or their logo?
I would say, yeah, and there's reason I'm not. Many fantasy systems out there would make this a test to roll and build something off of, but really, there's no device that builds or detracts from the story for information. So I'm just going to say that that there are no gangs that operate that way. None that use that necessarily as a symbol or anything like that. But you have heard of a information broker possibly that utilizes a top hat kind of as their personal symbol. Many more details than that, you're not certain, which might be a good sign too that they're not exactly well known.
Well, he'll pass the note back to Coel, and well, Coel, looks like you're going to be meeting an informant tonight.
Alone, or can I have my backup?
This is your side of the street. I'll trust your knowledge on it.
I won't fail you, Beck.
I just read my character sheet a little bit better. Sev is my brother. That's why That's why I've known him for a long time. Whoops. It doesn't say that on mine. It says that on his character sheet. And so I was like, oh.
I will say that for the viewers, if you decide to run one of the adventures, which looks like so far every book that they have has had an adventure in it, and they are really good. Read through them, especially the character sheets. There's a lot of good juicy detail.
Yep.
Like read all the character sheets, which is not something I normally recommend in a game.
And read them in order, because that seems to be the best way to get all the information as you get. So.
Yeah, usually I don't recommend reading the character sheets because sometimes that juicy information is secret background stuff. But in this case, I would say read through it because you, as a player and as a GM, where the game is very much a storytelling style game, I think it helps tremendously to make your own story.
Well, in the case of like Beck's character sheet, it had like one paragraph talking about how he interacts with his family and how they have no idea what he does and that he's the father figure of the crew. And then the next 3 paragraphs were breakdowns on how he feels about Tharo, Coel, and I think Demozai, which is one of the characters
Sev,
no one
and
picked.
also, yeah.
Yeah, and Sev.
Yeah. All right. Well, back into game. I don't think there's really going to be much that you do for the rest of the day other than laying low. Was there any of the leads or any of the things that have popped up that you're going to look into?
Other than this note, which once I kind of get the green light from Beck to do about, I'm gonna turn to Toro. I'm gonna make not a how to put this. I want Toro to know that I want him to get my back, but I don't necessarily want anyone other than Beck to know that I'm asking Toro. So maybe as he's walking out, he thinks there's nothing else to do. I might tap him on the shoulder and say, Toro, it seems we've gotten the go-ahead from Beck to look into this little thing. I think it might be a good idea if I play the fool with a strong right hook. If you have nothing else to do with your right hand today.
It's always good to hit something.
I giggle snort.
I was going to say, doesn't
in a
Say's character
disarmingly-
sheet specifically say something about innuendo?
Yeah, my specialty is disarming innuendo.
I saw that when I was reading through it. That cracked me up.
Yeah, I was like, wow, what is? So,
I
don't know.
I
My 12-year-old innuendo is not very disarming. So
I didn't realize I had made a bit of a blunder until I look down and I see Ted just absolutely losing it. I was like, oh wait, uh-oh.
I'm immature, what can I say? Sorry.
yeah, so am I. Not using that right arm today, eh, Tharo?
Well, you gotta take a break every now and then.
Didn't your mother
Strong
teach
right
you that
hand.
would put hair on your palms?
Switch hitter. He's a switch hitter.
Oh, God.
So, as the day wears down, then, and you have the opportunity to find yourself over towards the Aspen Row. The Aspen Row is closer to the walls. You probably can actually look down one of the streets that you're crossing and see the wall in the distance, one of these large stone walls that surrounds the entire city. And this is in the newer section of the city as well, as opposed to the old city. But it's still a slum. Is there a place that you'd be wanting to kind of there are a lot of beggars over towards here. Um, is there a certain one that you'd be looking for, a certain place that you'd want them to, set up this meeting for?
Definitely wherever we go, one block before that I approach that beggar, I'm gonna ask Toro to wait there. And whatever is the most open place, somewhere that's gonna leave a lot of room for a scuffle if it gets to that, or at the very least running. And I'm just gonna I'm gonna rely on the tried and true. Our signal is help. Uh,
Good signal
Toro's,
to have.
Toro's just gonna post up against a wall, cross his arms, and just lean against it, and just kind of eyes kind of half lidded, just keeping an eye on things.
and then once we kind of get the game plan down, I'm gonna go up to that beggar and, as gently and as nicely as I can, hand it to him and say, um, I believe someone you know would like to know me. Could you please let him know that I will be at this building? Then hand them.
I'm gonna say it's a older lady. Her fingers gnarled by age and probably osteo, just kind of grips the note out of your hand and looks at it, looks at you. Oh, oh. Yes, and picks up their alms bowl and just tosses the whole thing, whatever they've made, and all together into their satchel. And in probably one of the worst methods you've ever seen, starts kind of weaving their way from, there's no one else on the street, but you see them kind of making their way from doorway to doorway, looking around, trying to make sure nobody's following them. And yeah, so every 20 feet kind of stopping you. You're like, okay, this is going to take forever, but off she goes. And you make your way back to Tharo. And a few moments later, we're going to say that there is a knock on the door of the building that you find yourself at. Or had, addressed them to send the person.
Gotcha. I'm just gonna keep my hand right near my garter belt of daggers as I open the door a little tiny bit, look to see what exactly I'm dealing with.
You look through the crack and you see, just glancing about, trying to be nonchalant, you see the gentleman from the eatery previously, Teviger.
And he's just by himself?
He is.
All right. Then I will open the door the rest of the way, wait for him to walk in, and then gently close the door behind, not all the way. Just so there's not that little door click.
Oh, he's looking around. I'm surprised. Is it just the two of you?
We
Yes.
figured it was enough to handle you.
It's not about handling. I mean, I understand privacy and discretion and are good foundations. But I just had figured that the rest of your friends would be here as well, or at least Beck.
Beck likes to play things a little close to the vest, if you know what I mean.
Very well. Are you two prepared then to discuss the details of my proposal?
Let us hope there's not too much to be prepared for, but yes, I am ready if you are, Toro.
Let's get on with it.
Well, my proposal, as you might be glad to know, intersects the needs of my employer and your personal interests quite nicely. A humanitarian crisis, let's say, brews, my friends. The Scar are already under the yoke of the final empire and are being stricken by sources unknown. No doubt you know Smelter, Underworld's favorite lookout and most accomplished reveler. And when he says that name, it's a name that you are familiar with. Smelter is fairly well known in the underworld as a you know kind of a floater, goes between different crews and is available, and also known kind of as a drunk, but very good lookout, very good at kind of knowing what the pulse of the city to some extent. So you may even have a favorable opinion on him. It's hard to say, but definitely do know him.
Okay.
Well, our dear friend Smelter is very sick, and the reasons for this are of grave concern to my employer. Smelter's illness is tied to something bigger, and something they would very much like to see ended. We wouldn't want the herd to fall prey to the same problem facing Smelter now, would we?
No, I mean, what would the nobles do then if they didn't have the ska to kick around?
Yes, exactly. No, anyway, your task is simple. We want you to find out what's wrong with Smelter and then put a stop to whatever it is and whoever is causing the problem. Helping Smelter isn't enough. We really want whoever created this mess put out to pasture. Permanently, if you understand my meaning.
Of course, but it sounds to me that you have already begun the assumption that there is a someone for us to find. And I believe Beck would very much appreciate any additional information you may be able to give us to find who this someone that you seem to think is doing this is.
I can understand your feeling on that, but at the same time, I know that your crew is has a reputation of being capable and handling things like this. And my employer is very much results oriented and wants whatever information they have verified is the best way to put it without poisoning the water. No, that might not be the best way to put it, but I think you understand what I'm saying. We'd rather the less information we give you might provide us with a more sure result.
Well, you seem to have a lot of information to begin with. I mean, how do you know that he just didn't have a bad buy rap and is just suffering from food poisoning?
Well, that's possible, but that's not really my job either. All I know is that somebody offered me this, and he reaches in his pocket and pulls out a small pouch and tosses it to you, Tharo, and reaches across and pulls out a small silvery sphere of metal and hands that across to Coel. My employer understands that this may be complicated. They offer this donation as a down payment towards the civic-minded goal. A bead of atium is certainly goes a long way towards helping the downtrodden, eh? Take the job, and it's yours to do with as you like. Finish the job, and there's more waiting for you.
If you will give me and my good friend here a moment to deliberate, please don't go anywhere. And I would kind of step over to the side with Thor. What do you make of this?
That's a lot of money for a down payment.
A down payment for a sick lookout.
Well, I mean, he's more than just a sick lookout. I mean, he's pretty prominent. I mean, I know Beck has worked with him in the past, or at least got information from him. But did Beck expect us to accept a job without talking to him first, though?
That's what I'm a little bit worried about.
So I don't... But this is a lot of money. I mean, the atrium itself is worth more than most of the jobs we've ever pulled off.
Yes, and I'm worried that if we say, give us a day, he'll take half to find someone else to do it.
Not really what I'm paid for, but I say we take it.
Take it, and take it straight to back.
Well, take the job and go straight to back, yeah.
All right. I would turn back around to our friend and say, well, it seems you have some friendly doctors in your pocket now.
Oh, you're a doctor.
A joke. A joke.
Oh, because there is this, and he reaches into his pocket and says, he pulls out something. It looks maybe like a menu, but he's like, I'm not certain what all is on it, but I thought it had something to do with doctors. If you are taking the job, I will provide this to you.
We're
What
taking
have
it.
He passes it across. It appears to be a kind of a menu for a local tap house. And on it are written a few notes. Are you going to be reading them right now, or are you going to save those?
Why don't we? I would say let's save them and get back to the crew, and before we dig ourselves any deeper.
Yeah. Let's just take that, and once again, just one last time. This is going to be very helpful. I'm sure not a single other thing you could possibly provide for us to help.
I'm not really, but I will say that my employer has said that they would be happy to meet you after the job is done to discuss other opportunities.
If we need to get in contact with you again,
Well, you know the method.
all right.
Well, I am about as happy as I can be from this situation. We'll let you have the door first, polite as we are. And I'll open the door for him.
All right, and he exits and departs.
Oh man, I hope we just didn't do the wrong thing.
I agree. This is a concerning predicament, but I have full faith in Beck to figure this out. Though perhaps we should keep things in mind just in the event that this turns out to be something that isn't good for our health.
Agreed.
I think with that, I'm ready to head back to
Yeah.
Beck.
Yeah, we gave enough time for Twinkle Toes to get out of our way.
Yeah.
All right. Are you going to I'm not going to make a roll for anything, but pretty much finding a most direct path there, or are you going to be a little bit more surreptitious about it?
Surreptitious.
Absolutely. And definitely head on a swivel. Is there anything equivalent to a perception check or something to make sure we're watching all corners as best we can?
Essentially, we can always do it as a wits check.
A wits, yeah. That's what I would say anyway.
I'll roll a wits too.
I-
With my 4.
I'll do what I can to help.
Yeah, that's nothing. I got it straight.
Well, let's just one moment
Yahtzee.
on that. I will say, okay, so what was your total? If you're gonna start the roll for Tharo, what were you rolling? Your wits?
Yeah.
Do you have any traits that could have added to that?
Uh,
Because I will say that being pragmatic would for Coel,
Yeah,
that
yes.
would be a trait that would definitely add to this.
I'd also say bodyguards are used.
Oh, that's true. Bodyguards, yeah, their head's always on a swivel. That's one more. Ah!
So go ahead and re-roll it with those 2 extra dice in there.
Okay, do a whole reroll.
Yeah.
Cool. 2 6s.
Anything
And,
else?
And again, a 1 2 3 4, another straight.
See, this is a part of the game that, as a GM and a player, that I would say is that's always good to roll more than 6 dice if possible, because that way you're at least ensuring a double outside, hopefully the 6.
Yep, no,
Because
1 2 3 4.
the sixes doubles don't count, right?
They
They're
do
pushes?
not. They're pushes. And technically, so on top of that, to explain a little bit further, I would have set the difficulty on this as a challenge. So that's 2, which means that technically this would have been an unfortunate outcome.
Yeah, I would just look at Quell and be like, I think we're good.
Yeah, I don't see anyone either. Let's get moving.
That said, though, as a GM, and also this being a story-based system, an unfortunate outcome doesn't have to mean necessarily failure. No, because sometimes it's funny and yet at the same time terrible. As y'all are making your way through an alley to surreptitiously find your way back. He's gonna kill me.
Surreptitiously.
I'm a Texan. We
Surreptitiously.
say words 10 different
You said
ways.
surreptitiously. Surreptitiously.
Surreptitiously.
Get
It
out there
sounds
like
like
a
something
snake.
you put. Sounds.
It is
sounds
like a
like the
snake.
long form. Sounds like the long form of what you put on pancakes.
Pardon me for my. Oh God.
I hate when the surreptitiously gets all sticky.
Surreptitiously. Surreptitiously.
That surreptitiously gets all sticky on the
Surreptitiously,
bottle.
they're trying to make a winding way back.
That's right. That's right. There you go.
Okay. Blame me and my Texas accent in ways I've not learned in good speak.
He blames that Texas accent on a whole lot. It's just he doesn't know how to say words. His family doesn't know how to say words either. It's okay.
I have a patio.
No, you have no. That's the
I'm
right
sorry,
way.
I have a patio.
That's what his family says. They call it a patio, and I'm like, no one does that. They don't even say that in like Europe.
So I try very hard not to speak like I would normally, because my family also is from an area of Texas where we talk like Boomhauer. So, anyway. That said, as you make your way through, though, with that unfortunate situation, I will say that Thoro, somebody empties a wastewater bucket overhead from the second floor, and it splashes on your cloak.
I'm actually nearby, and I see this happen, and I'm like, oh, I've been waiting for something like that. That was a good start to the day.
I guess
You guys have been really bad about being followed. I've been like toting along behind you for like since you left, and this is too good.
Well, your morning may be ruined once you hear what we have to say.
That's usually what happens when you talk, Tharo.
Just kind of grunt and keep walking.
Ah.
All right. So your team is able to meet back up at the hideout, and you provide the scrawled notes. I take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the orb thing.
The atrium and the money.
Give that all up to Beck and kind of give him the rundown of what has just transpired.
I should have known better than to not say, just get the information, don't agree to anything. I should have known better. Thorough, did it not occur to you that only a noble house would have been able to afford paying an adium?
Yeah, that did occur to me. But
And
also,
you took a job from the nobles?
I figure we can turn it around on them.
Right. Right. Okay. Well, too late now. You took payment. What information do we have? What's going on? You said Smelter's sick?
Smelter's sick, and it seems that they would like us to stop who or whatever it is that is making him sick. Let us hope it is a simple cold.
The Top Hat guy kind of alluded that this could be a bigger problem and could spread to the ska community.
Well, they wouldn't be paying with adium if it had to do with a simple cold. Right. Did
Or
they have
food
anything else for
My
us?
issue is why were they even going after you two anyway? Clearly he knows who Beck is. Why wasn't he just giving the job to Beck? Why did he even approach you? That's what I don't understand.
He was quite not upset. He was quite disappointed that Beck wasn't there for the meeting today.
Well, then he shouldn't have invited you.
Hey, listen, I do a lot for this crew.
I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying if they know who Beck is, why didn't they find Beck? You do a lot for this crew. You do a lot.
Is that what that smell is?
That's a bucket from the...
Yeah. Say
Disarming
that's
innuendo.
enough. Be nice.
I didn't take
Okay.
anyone's arms, I promise.
Right. First thing to look into is did Top Hat have any sort of information or notes? Said he had a paper or something?
The menu. Give him the menu.
Yes, he gave us this and said it may relate to doctors somehow.
If you take a look
at the paper.
it up, yeah. So you open it up, and it's a menu for a tap house, but inside are a few very, short notes scrawled in a very simple hand. It says that before resurfacing with unknown illness, S was last seen in a tap room called the Narrows. Other things that it says on there, it says that S has been missing for over 1 week. It says that S had called in all favors and begged all people he knew for cash prior to the disappearance. And it says in there, the best and most discreet physician in Ska districts can be found at Welder's Apothecary. And the final note is S's time is short. We suspect foul play or business interests not suitable for Luthendale. Make sure this never happens again. And just with the way that the hand is written and the verbiage, you would believe that this probably is not written by the man with the top hat.
Right. There's nothing on here that indicates an actual sickness other than the mention of the physician. When he was saying sickness, the two of you get the feeling that he was using it as a word to describe something, maybe or discreetly, or do you think he meant an actual illness?
I got the sense that it was a word of discretion. Whether that does mean an illness, I suspect foul play already.
You think he's got the pecker pox? And that's what's keeping him under.
Well, that is where most keep their peckers.
I'm just saying. That would be unacceptable to most people.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this, tossing out that there's a few pieces of information, and then we're going to actually take a quick break before we continue onwards. But just information that your crew knows is that the Narrows is actually a neutral ground location for various thieving crews and well-to-do Ska and Luthadel. It's known for providing safety and guarantee for parties that are in disagreement. So that's one of their advertised services. Other things that you know as a group, just in your interactions with Smelter over time, is that he's kind of a confirmed and unrepentant alcoholic. But he is also a steady hand at blending in and getting good gossip.
I
He's a small player. And beyond that, I would say that you have heard of Welder's Apothecary, and if anyone in this team has actually been wounded before, there's a good chance that you went there to get healed up because they won't report anything, and keep the ska, provide services even to ska who are sick and just need a place to hide or lay low or whatever. So, with those things said, we're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break. We will be back in 10 minutes. We hope that you will come back and join us and as we continue on with this tale. All right, we'll see y'all soon.
Be back later.
All right, and we are back. Hi, everyone. This is Rook and Rasp Network, and my name is John, and we are playing Mistborn by Crafty Games. So, when last we left our intrepid group of Ska, they had just now taken a job for locating a missing member of kind of the underworld society. So there are some hints given, and I think it's definitely a point where, what do you think your crew is going to do? What's going to be the first clue that you think you're going to be following?
The apothecary.
That's where my hat's in too. I think following up with this apothecary physician type, that might be especially great for kind of all of us to go in.
Did the note say that Smelter went to the apothecary, or did it just say the best apothecaries are in this area?
It mainly just points out a very specific apothecary. It does not mention that that's where they went.
So I just have to ask: do we think that this, if the sickness and the use of the sickness term was a matter of discretion, are we just saying he might have been incapacitated in some way, and we need to figure out what's going on?
The way I'm looking at it, we have either they were using the word as a discretionary term, in which case, yes, he was probably capacitated or incapacitated, and there's someone going around knocking out people, such as potentially, you mentioned that there weren't as many of the beggars as there normally are, which could be a sickness going around. Someone's kidnapping all the beggars. Now, if he's using the term literally, and someone has brought a plague to the city and they're spreading diseased objects, it strikes me that a good way to do that is a fancy pair of jewelry used as payment. Now, unfortunately, since we don't have Sev or Jahoy or anyone to go around and hit the streets and see if other people have been getting paid in jewelry that is above the payment style, we can either go as a group or we can split up and accomplish different tasks. One thing I'd like to establish is whether more people have been receiving this jewelry that could potentially be diseased in some way. Say, I know how much you like the Lady Sibel persona, but it may be time for you to put on your Ska female clothes, and maybe, I don't know, John, out of character, did
Yeah.
Smoke have a family or a partner or anything?
No, not really. Just was extremely well known and overly friendly. That's the best way to put it.
So say it may be time for you to put on your slightly more ragged dress and go looking
That's
for
fine.
your partner that's gone missing. Your latest boyfriend that disappeared about a week ago, and you're desperate to figure out where he's from or where he's
Of
gone.
course, of course.
Oh, good. The less insufferable personality's coming out.
As I've said before, actually, when I saw Tharo on the street, I was in my normal ska digs. I didn't have my finery on. I've probably got a little newsboy cap. My cheeks are a little dusty, and
It's the same no matter what. Then.
Yep.
Yep.
It is indeed. Is indeed. You are stuck with me for as long as you work with me, you old bastard. Actually, I was reading I read more of the character sheets, and apparently Tharo is the group's hunk, because my character was actually interested in him
Really?
until it seemed like he might be interested in Coel, and then I was like, yeah, whatever. So.
And
know
I've
that
been
at all,
playing
because
on
they-
that the whole time.
Yeah, you've been doing very well with that. Yeah.
Because I didn't read too far into it because I didn't want to preempt any kind of, because we were all going to play it, the way we saw it. So I just read my
Sure.
character, and when they said heavily scarred, I'm thinking he's like the dog toy of the group.
Yeah, well, apparently you're like
I'm scarred in the right way.
Some kind of toy.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're just big and hunky. I mean, that's just the way you're big and muscly, and so all the girls are like, oh, But I am gonna play with something off of my angle, off of my backstory, according to the book. I actually have a lover that is in the know. and that is a big no-no. Nobody else in the crew knows that, so act like you don't know that. But I'm gonna go see them and see, because I assume they're a ska. I don't think they're a noble. Or they
Oh no,
wouldn't-
the backstory says they're a noble.
Oh, does it?
So you got to change again.
Well, I'll go see them later after I put my finery on. But for now, I'll go. And maybe me and Sev will go on and look for those. You said there were some fellas that were watching us, but trying not to look like they were watching us the other night, right?
Sorry, wrong button. Yes, I did.
So, that said, maybe we'll head back to that part of town and see if we can't find something. We can look grubby enough, and people know that we're related. So.
All right. As you are wandering about and looking for them, you do actually see one of these groups. It's about 3 men just moving through one of the alleyways. All of them kind of heavies. And they just, I won't say move with a purpose, but they are on a patrol.
Anything that would identify them as together in any major way, or does it kind of look like a bunch of big boys just patrolling their side of the street?
It's not even their side of the street. It's like literally they are making their way through the area at a standard pace, looking around. But other than that, there's nothing that stands out that tells you, yes, these guys are all part of the same crew.
Okay.
So they're not advertising, as I guess a better way to put it.
I guess, do we need to rough somebody up?
Always straight to the violence with you.
The most direct route.
Well, maybe the most direct. We don't know if it's anything to do with Smelter. Just that these may be men that are causing the beggars to go away.
Where's the lady that got the necklace that your wife picked up?
Beck would give directions.
I say we start with her if she's still around.
Yeah, that's a pretty good lead, I think.
Well, again, it's not directly tied to Smelter. The job is for
It's-
Smelter. These are just suspicions.
Right. I understand, but it might seem. Well, and quite frankly, is your family feeling ill? Just as an idea.
Well, considering just got the necklace last night, they were perfectly hale last I saw.
Well, that's good at least. But I do think we should at least go and ask, or just kind of poke around, see if she's even still at her post. I mean, if the two might be connected, then let's see if she's even there.
Right. Well, you're gonna have to go without me for that one. Can't be seen with y'all. Just
That's fine.
you're an interested merchant that I pawned the necklace off to.
Oh, I could do that.
All right, so
All
are,
right.
are we splitting up, or you're just not going to be seen with us at all in the town, or just in that area?
Oh, I'm not gonna be seen with y'all when you go to talk to this lady.
Okay, because that's too close to your
Family
cover.
doesn't know what I'm up to on
Right.
the daytime.
Yep.
So it's Sena, Toro, and Coel. All three of us are going together to this place.
Yep. And I probably look a little rattier than. I mean, Tharo might look kind of ratty, but I assume that Coel is looking a little nicer.
I just can't help it.
That's how it goes.
So you make your way to this one place where the laundry is done, and the name that you have is Shale. And asking at the front door, and of course they're more put out that you are coming there and wasting their time and not hiring them for business. But they say that Shale has a break in about 20 minutes if you're willing to wait.
Oh, sure. Is there like a meat pie cart anywhere near here that I might be able to get something to eat?
They just kind of look you up and down and kind of harumph and walk away.
Well, I was asking you.
Oh, asking me?
Out of character. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, sure.
Out of character, there's no meat pies. There's
None
very
ever?
little meat. No, there's very little meat.
I forgot about
Scars mostly eat boiled barley and vegetables, and you can get it in like a bay wrap.
Oh,
get
yeah.
gruels.
Oh, yeah. I mean, do they have pastry? Do they have, like... Do they have, I guess I could eat a bay wrap. That's fine.
They're good. They're filling.
Keeps you from
I mean,
dying.
that might have just been... That might have been Lady Sabelle slipping through a little bit, but... Mike, yeah. I won't get it, yeah. You all would know that I tend to live in such a way that I am simultaneously both people at the same time. But sometimes I dress for Sena and sometimes I dress for Lady Sabelle. But as far as I'm concerned, we are the same person.
Right.
So some...
All right. So, I'll say that you are able to find something enough to just distract you for a moment. Not up to any level of what you want, but yeah, it suffices. And the Shale shows up, walks out the door, wiping her hands. Her sleeves are rolled all the way up. The ashfall today has not been heavy, and so just walks out into the street and looking around. Sees you and kind of shrugs and walks across over to your group. So you asked for me, something I can help you with, and she nods to the person who's serving essentially gruel out of a stew pot, and the smell of no, I'm gonna take a little liberty and say the smell of roasting chestnuts just also there. Hey,
I think
Chet,
you said
not the
Chet.
character.
You said Chet's nuts. That was like...
Well, laugh at the way I talk all day.
Sorry, y'all.
We all love
couldn't
Chet around
let that
here.
pass. Yeah, so
Chet's a character in Ninja Crusade. So.
in Ninja Crusade, he would not be happy about that.
Anyway, but she orders something very quickly while she's on break. So, what can I do for you?
So, I bought this off a fella not that long ago, and I was just, he had mentioned perhaps that it came from, that you'd been paid in this, and I was just wondering, what, who was the one who gave you this? Is that common?
Oh.
Do you usually get paid in objects like jewelry?
That's funny. I not too often. Mainly out of people out of the Narrows, really. A couple of the Narrow men recently, they've come across some stuff and they're paying out and however they want. They had kind of a huge bill and this got passed to me.
So you say they came across a bunch of stuff. It's on the up, though. They weren't just trying to get you into trouble, right?
I don't think they'd be trying to get me into trouble.
What
I
are you
don't
doing?
think they'd be trying to get me into trouble.
You trust people from the Narrows a bit more than I do, I guess.
They've got their reputation, but, And she nods, and one of the groups of people coming down the street, and she kind of, nods to these men coming down. They're like, their influence has been building quite a bit recently. And it's one of these patrols that she nods to.
The one that we've been seeing throughout the city, bringing up more and more.
Another one. But yeah, same general description. A group of heavies walking on through.
Interesting. So, have you seen these guys doing a whole lot?
Not really. I mean, I kind of just provide protection and that sort of thing.
Let me ask you a question. Do they provide the sort of protection that, is it one of those deals where they say, well, you need to pay us to protect you, or else you'll need protection from us? Does that make sense?
Well, there's always a little bit of that, but at the same time, honestly, ever since they started coming out and patrolling more, a lot of the other crews have been going away.
Going away like gone, or just quieting down?
Moving out of this area. Honestly, I can't tell you when the last time was. I had to clean. It's been a couple weeks since I've had to clean blood off a shirt.
These patrols are, have you noticed less beggars?
Well, yes. Don't really understand it much about that, really. Don't know why, but yeah, the beggars haven't been around much either.
You don't think that that's a little weird?
Doesn't bother me none. I try to keep to myself.
Anybody talking about people going missing lately? Fallen ill, maybe with a sickness?
She thinks for a moment, and not so much that, but I do remember. It's been a bit, but there was a body.
Excuse me.
A body?
Well, yeah, I know it's not too unusual, but yeah, there was a body. No signs of like wounds or anything on it. It was in the alley behind. It's been well over a week, maybe 2.
Who disposed of it?
I don't know, but the thing was, nothing really odd about the body. I mean, like I said, that no blood, we thought it was just a passed out drunk, but skin. I do remember. The skin was very yellow.
Well, I mean, so they had the jaundice.
Is that what that is? Is it catching?
Only if you drink a lot.
So, you didn't think anything odd about it, but it had no wounds, no blood, no bruises, was a little yellow, and it
I
just
didn't do
turned
much
up.
poking about, honestly. Didn't poke about it much. I think
Yeah, but
they.
where did it go? That's what I meant. I didn't figure you knew who left it. I wanted to know who took it off.
Drops bodies off randomly.
I don't know. I mean, I think we paid a man and body was turned over to somebody. I don't know.
Just like that.
I mean, people drop dead all the time.
But like this? Have you seen many other bodies like this
No.
recently, last 6 months?
No, but you said people missing. I figure somebody's probably missing him.
Everyone's missing someone.
Yeah, missing a lot of people right now. A lot of other people. Well, thank you for your time. Shale, was it?
Yes.
Shale, okay. Let's. I think we've taken enough of your time. You should probably get back to your washing work, and we'll be about those missing beggars that you don't care much about. We'll see if we can't figure out what's going on there before maybe somebody like you goes missing.
Have a nice day.
Oh, I will.
And she says it in that, kind of.
That way that means don't have a nice day. That way that
Yeah,
means specifically F you.
Yeah, a little bit of venom in there.
I want to watch her as she goes back in. Does she ever turn back to look at us again?
Right before she goes in the door, she turns around and looks at you one last time. Yes.
I give her a wave.
Hurries inside.
since she saw us twice already, she's probably gonna remember us one way or the other.
Yeah.
So
all right.
you do have. I was going to say you do have 2 other clues though to pursue. Obviously, there's the Narrows and the Doctor. So is there one of those things that y'all are going to go ahead and look into?
Well, after we leave Shales, if we wander out of this part of town into a place where maybe we could rendezvous with Beck and give him an update, I would say the apothecary sounds the most interesting. I don't much care to run with the Narrows crowd if I can help it. They're a little bit too in between for me. Pick a side.
I think while the rest of the group is interrogating Shale, Beck is going to be working the informants chains and just going around the city in the area roughly of the Narrows and looking for the normal, like, beggars are missing, but also a lot of informants would disguise themselves as beggars. Maybe there's some merchants that are actually informants, and you got to buy the right bale of cloth or something. I don't know, but he's probably going to be going around the informants in that area of the city, just seeing if they have any updates on anything new going on.
You know, just for fun, let's go ahead and get a your roll on that with your influence.
I can't wait till I get to roll, John.
For your reputation.
Well, I'm going to be pretty determined about this.
All right. And I'm going to set a difficulty on that of 2.
Well, I am happy to report that I have 2 3s and 2 2s and no 6s.
All right. So 2 3s, 2 2s, and no 6s. All right. So that's you're going to always want to go with the higher of any. If you roll multiple doubles, always go with the higher set of doubles. So we subtract the difficulty, which is 2, from that 3, giving you a 1. And that 1 is the level of your success. In this case, that would be good. So 1 is a good passing score. And beggars have gone missing about the same time. People have reported seeing some of those beggars employed or supposedly employed. That suddenly they're out, working and wandering. That there will be days that they aren't around, and then suddenly they show up with a little bit of money in their pocket. And so, they're like, yeah, it's been strange. But they always seem to turn back up. I haven't heard about a new mine opening up, and even then, if there was, we just wouldn't see them at all.
Well, if you see any of them, send them to my shop.
Very well.
And head off to go meet the rest of the crew.
All right. So everybody meets back up, and where do you think, are y'all going to discuss a little more, or you think you're going to go someplace?
Oh, I assume we have some sort of back entrance into Beck's shop that we can, or a cellar entrance or something that we can slip into away from away from prying eyes, as it were.
Sounds good. That makes sense. Beck?
Oh, I'd say meet up at the shop, exchange information, and then head off to the apothecary.
Yeah.
I'd like to say if Sena, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. If Sena and Toro want to go check out the doctor, or the apothecary, I keep calling him the doctor. Them, the doctor.
That's fine.
Then I would say that I'd like to go and at least poke around in the Narrows. Possibly one person going into the Narrows instead of this veritable small army might be less of something to think about, but two people going in to see the apothecary. Could be anyone.
Sure.
I'm good with splitting the party like that.
And if Beck wants to join us at the apothecary, that's fine too.
No, I think we can go with Tharo and Say going to the apothecary, and then Coel and Beck going to the Narrows, and I think Beck might go to the tap room under the guise of putting a crew together for a job, and he was looking to hire Smelter on, see if anyone can give him a lead.
Well, and you would fit in kind of in the Narrows, right? Because you're more of the upper ska class, right?
Correct.
Cool. Well, let's go, Tharo. Let's see what this apothecary has to say about
Do we
this
need to-
sickness that's befalling the ska.
Well, are we gonna go in straight and ask, or are we just gonna pretend like one of us is sick first?
I mean, you can get all sorts of tinctures and things from an apothecary. We don't have to necessarily be sick. But we could say that we know somebody. Ooh.
Is there someone that's yellow?
We could put some yellow on Sev. Everybody knows him as drunken street trash as it is.
Not a bad idea.
Come on, brother. It's like we used to. Makeup and things.
Whatever. Okay. He'll give you the opportunity if you want.
Sweet, yeah. Let's you'll just have to I don't carry things, but if you, Tharo, you're pretty strong. You could just throw his arm over you, or shoulder carry him like you're
Just
carrying
hoist him
a
over
deer
my
out of the
shoulder.
fields. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I just hoist him over my shoulder. Don't throw
But
up on me.
yeah, I'm gonna do a little makeup on him. I've got some yellow concealer that I can just paste on his forehead and cheeks. And
You
nose.
know, you asked for it, so you be careful what you ask for. Let's go ahead and see how you do with this. Coming up with this disguise together.
Okay, so I have some wits and some resources, and I am a con woman, and I'm very confident. So I'm confident I can do this. Now, what do you want me to do? What do you want?
All
me
right,
to
so we're gonna say your wits and your resources are both a 3, which is the same, same level.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter which one that you want me to. Which one?
So we'll start you off with a dice pool of 3. Now, you can add your traits that you can apply and explain that you applied. You said that you're going to be very that you're a con woman, so that definitely goes in there, giving you a +1. You're going to be confident, so that gives you 2 on top of that. That's putting you at a 5. Now, did any of the others really fit with this situation as you go inside? I mean, because really, what we're trying, the goal of the outcome is for the doctor and his, and any of his staff to believe that your brother is really sick. Correct?
Well, I mean, he is a raging drunk. He doesn't think it's a problem. I think it's a problem. I probably just make him look a little worse than he already does. He doesn't look. I mean, I don't think I'm being rude in saying that or out of turn. I think he looks pretty rough.
The pictures in the book, yes.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna give him a little help. I am gonna try to yellow him up a little bit. Because I mean, if he's jaundice is a liver problem, right? So I'm just gonna yellow him up a little bit. Ask the doctor if he's seen anything like this, and if he's got anything that might liven him up for a family reunion dinner we're gonna have.
And if I carry him in, can that help boost her dice pool any?
Absolutely. Do you have a trait that applies with that?
Strong, tough, buff.
Yeah, I mean, determined. Yeah, I mean, not really.
Well, no, I mean, it all is about how you describe it, because you can say bodyguards are strong. It's all about the narrative.
Yeah.
So,
That's my role, bodyguard. So yeah, carrying him in, protecting him, trying to get him help.
So we're going to say that, so you had your base of 3, you have the 2 traits coming off of, Sena's pool already, so you're looking at base 5. The makeup is going to be a 1, so that's going to put you at 6, plus your bodyguard puts you at 7. So there's definitely a chance to roll a double in there. Rolling 7 dice, I'm going to set the difficulty for just getting in the door and making him look worse than he is. I'm just putting the difficulty at a 1.
Okay, sounds good. All right. I got 2 2s and 2 6s.
All right, so those 2 2s, we start there. So you have a 2 as your total. -1 puts you at a 1 for your success. And then how many boosts did you get? How many 6s?
2.
So that takes it from a 1 to a 2 to a 3. And so with the 3, you're at an amazing success.
I didn't expect anything less.
So getting you in there, to describe this location. So Doc Welder is a fastidious, bespectacled young man with immaculate combed black hair. Average height, slight build. Stands behind the counter and looks up from his book that he has in his hand. So he's well off enough to have a book. Looks up from it, and all the while, kind of bustling around the room is a younger woman. Perhaps a nurse, perhaps one of his assistants. Auburn hair, energetic, wearing glasses just like the Doc Welder. And there's a little bit of a family resemblance in that they both have green eyes as well. But they both kind of look at you coming in, and the fact that you're carrying Sev over your shoulder, that's like, oh, please come on in right away. And there were a few people in there looking a few things over with them, but they pretty much pull you into a back room directly. And they're like, please come on here. And the young lady says to Sev, and she's like, oh, here, let's check your temperature here. Lay down, and she's bustling over him. I'm Ellie. What's your name? And playing the part of the nurse almost perfectly.
You don't have to worry too much about him. I mean, he's not well, but
Seeing that he's kind of getting just taken care of by her. He's
doted
like,
on by a pretty girl.
Oh, it hurts right here. Laying back on the kind of the mat that he's been put on.
I'm gonna kind of whisper to I'm drawing blanks.
Sena.
Dang it, Sena. Next time I'll just break his arm.
I might let you. Oh, Doc. And I kind of try to brush some of the dust off my cheeks. How old is this doctor? Is he old?
No, fairly young. Probably just in his older 20s.
Nice. Me too. So yeah, I clean off my cheeks. I take off my flat cap and say, we have this family reunion thing that we need to go to, and well, you see him. That's my brother, and he's. I mean, I know there's not a lot you can do, but if there's something, his skin's been taking on a yellow tone lately, and I just need to liven him up, and I'd rather not give him the gin and pepper juice that he usually takes to liven himself up. It seems to be making him a little bit more yellow.
And the doctor nods at this, walks over, picks up his wrist, pulls out a pocket watch and begins to check his pulse.
I watch with interest because I know Sev is like, he's probably got his little heart thumping with this young nurse all fluttering about him.
He releases Sev's hand, and he's like, you may have a fever. And he's reaches up and puts the back of his hand on his forehead, reaches behind his ears, kind of rubs, checking to see if perhaps there's any swelling. and pulls his,
Fascinated by this. I haven't been to a doctor in a long time, and I'm just like, what is he doing?
pulls his hand away, and there's a little bit of yellow on his gloves.
Contagious.
He's just like, he pauses for a moment, and he's like, "Oh, pepper and what did you say?"
Gin. You know the drink
Oh.
gin. Like liquor, booze, alcohol. I don't like saying all these words too loudly. It gets him salivating. And I don't want him to drool on your pretty nurse here.
Ellie, I think we're going to be. I think he's going to be okay. And she just blinks at him and nods and leaves the room. To which, of course, your brother's like, "Ah, bugger."
You laid it on too thick.
You think so?
Doc, as to why we're really here. Have you seen something like this before? We didn't want to just barge in here and ask you questions, but have you heard of anything like this?
Of course. Usually, situations like this, especially when a person smells of liquor as much as he is perhaps a little bit yellow in the skin, it's what we call jaundice.
I look at Tharo and Sev, and I'm like, told you.
It's usually related to the liver and could be from drinking. I see it quite a bit, more so than I would like. Although, quite honestly, you asked if I have seen it recently. I would say that I haven't seen it this bad in the city since black tar was popular.
What is black tar in the terms of this game? Because my brain went to heroin, and I was like, okay, I'm taken out of the moment. So, out of character, I don't know what black tar is in Mistborn.
Do you ask the doctor?
Black tar?
Yes, it's a drug. It's made from the leaves of a jet black plant found out along the edge of the Burnlands. It was popular about 4 years back until an obligator cracked down on the trade. It's hard to make, mainly because it has to be boiled down and baked into slabs. So it was mighty easy for the ministry to find out who was making it in large, quantities and stomp them out. Before that, it was all over these slums, and people who took it too much often got jaundice very badly.
Have you... Interesting. We just were talking to a lady in another part of town, and she said that there was a very yellowed body that just turned up in an alleyway. Didn't know if he'd been a patient of yours, but it sounds like not.
No, liver disease in the liver, if not treated seriously, and he's looking at your brother while saying this, very sternly. Disease in the liver, if not taken seriously, can lead to death. Especially for the downtrodden and the less fortunate who don't have a roof over their head.
Out of character, this chap is Ska, right?
Yes, he is. Higher, much more
Ska.
well-to-do.
And we're here to ask also kind of regarding Smelter, right?
Yes.
Okay. I am going to use a little bit of my my allomancy here, if I may. And I'm going to tug on this chap before I ask him any questions. And I'm going to see if I can kind of encourage him to be very open with me. Candid.
All right, let's go ahead and do
Now,
that.
do you want to tag team that? Because I can start
That's fine.
being intimidating, and you can inflame his emotions to be more forthcoming, so that we don't do bad things to him. Or if you just want to go subtle, that's fine too.
I mean, I don't want to intimidate him too much. He seems very cute and very smart and well off,
Okay.
so that would be. But
Well, at this point, because this is the way the tests are done, uh, especially since this is a storytelling style game, it would not be a conflict or one of the other tests. Because you're trying to use a power on him. You're not in conflict with him. You're
Right.
not, you're not. This isn't a combat or anything else. So it would actually start off with your character using your power.
okay.
So for your character would be using. Trying to remember what you have.
Zinc.
You have zinc. So you're at 5 for tugging emotions, which is the specific power that your character is going to try and use with this. So your base dice pool is 5, and then on top of that, now we begin to add the traits that are going to build towards there. So profession is con woman, probably could be so.
I mean, to be a con woman, the full title is confidence woman. So I tend to inspire confidence, other people to confide in me. That is my Roxanne, and doesn't do it well. but Lady Sena lives based on roles. So if the role is there. But yes, she wants to inspire him to confide a little bit, and she's also going to drop the name of Smelter, and he is a drifter between crews, and I just want to get him to maybe not immediately red flag that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I would say that so base 5 with your power,
Okay.
confidence woman. So that gives you a +1. I am actually going to give you a difficulty of 2. He is keeping his cards close to his chest, but I will say that at the same time, you notice that his face kind of moves a little bit when you mention Smelter.
I think
If
Ted
I
had.
could argue, Sev is in the room, and Sev and Say work together as a team all the time. He'd probably
True.
be dampening the doctor's suspicion or something as well.
That's true. Yeah, he is a soother.
Okay, and with that plus, now you would actually be able to throw on a little bit from from Pharaoh. If you're trying to look a little bit intimidating or like somebody he'd want to get out of his shop a little bit quicker, a trait from that would also add to this pool.
I'm going to kind of look at Tharo, and I'm going to be like, do you mind standing by the door?
Post up by the door. Just kind of arms crossed, yet kind of scowling, but not too
Somebody
threatening.
comes up to like knock on the door, and Tharo's like, and just shuts the door behind.
All right, so that gives you another +1 right there. So 5 plus 1 for con woman, plus the 1 for the bodyguard. So gives you your 7 dice, and difficulty is 2.
Okay, sounds good.
A little bit of good cop, bad cop.
Oh, guys, I did good. I got 4 5s.
Wow.
All right.
No pushes. I got 2 3s, a 4, and 4 5s. So I was going to take the 5s.
So 5 minus the 2 for difficulty gives you the 3, which we know is an amazing success. He stops for a moment, and he actually a little bit of. He had been a little bit more uptight, like he was kind of holding himself back or whatever. But when you say Smelter, it's like there's a moment of recognition. And what exactly are you asking? What's
So-
the specifics?
I'm going to lean conspiratorially, as it were, on the counter, and I'm going to say, Doc, I apologize that we came in here under the guise of having a sick. Well, my brother is sick, but not in a way that you could probably help. But we have a friend of ours, or an acquaintance, as it were, we've understood that he's kind of fallen out of the public eye. We call him Smelter, and we've heard that he might have a sickness, and we'd really like to know if there's something going on that is, if you've helped him or worked with him, what's going on, so we can just, figure out what's going on with him.
Okay. Look, I'm a little bit confused. I'm guessing this all comes together. Look, Smelter came in here about a week ago and said that he had a job and that he couldn't have any alcohol. Needed something small that would help him with the headaches and the other symptoms that came with him being unable to drink. He sounded squeamish and he wouldn't give me many details. I asked him who gave him this job and he just wouldn't tell me. But he said that the pay was really good and that I shouldn't pry and I shouldn't ask after him no matter what. I haven't seen him since, but Griller, another individual, came by and picked up a few things for him.
Griller?
And Griller said that Smelter was sick. He wanted to know if I'd given him anything, and I said no, nothing unusual or potent. I'd given Smelter the same remedies I'd given a number of times when there are people that are trying to stop drink. And Griller seemed worried. He described the symptoms and said Smelter was feverish and sweating and vomiting. It sounded strange, but it was hardly really to know what was going on.
Could he have been having a reaction to any of the things you give him?
I don't think so. I gave him things that should have helped symptoms building towards. I mean, if this is alcohol or his liver, this should have been actually helping him.
Well, the issue I'm wondering is, what if he drank alcohol while he was also taking the things that you gave him? Would that give him some type of counteraction sickness?
I wouldn't know, except that he, without actually seeing it, I don't think I could know for certain.
Do you know where Smelter holds up anymore?
Well, yes. Look, Griller, from what I know, Smelter is staying with Griller. And Griller has an apartment above the Narrows. And of course, that's also where Griller works.
Above the Narrows or in the Narrows?
Above the Narrows.
Okay. You've been very helpful, Doc.
Look, if he is very, very sick, and it's been over a week since Griller came in here. If he's very sick, he probably needs to be here as soon as possible.
We'll do what we can. You know Smelter. Stubborn as an old ass.
Very good.
I take my hat that I still haven't put back on and I just kind of thwap my brother's knees. I say, "Come on, not gonna make him carry you out."
No, it was one time.
Hey, look out though. There's been a bunch of odd people out and about recently, and a group of them even came in here looking for him.
The big thug fellas, the big no offense, Tharo, the big heavy fellas, that some influential crew from the Narrows, right?
I think they are from the Narrows, yes.
When you say they were coming to look for him, they look like they meant him ill?
I do think so. And they had a man with him, called himself the Howler. Wearing a suit, bowler hat.
And that description isn't similar to who we met Is it
No, that's
Different type
the
of hat.
in the
different
end, the
type of?
description that he gives is that this individual uh, unattractive uh, and wearing a tan suit that just
Tan suit with all this ashfall? That's just such a bad choice.
yeah. In the end, the description leads you to believe that this is not the same individual.
Okay. Sure. Well, with that, I bid you good day, Doc. Sorry to take so much of your time. And after we leave the shop, or the apothecary, I do look at Tharo, and I'm like, and Sev, and I'm like, I think at least Tharo and I need to head to the Narrows. I believe that's where Beck and Coel were headed
Yeah,
as
they might
well.
need our help.
Maybe we can rendezvous somewhere over there, but I think it's best if we get in the area. Maybe look out for these patrol groups and see if we can't pick up any eyeball intel on them.
You could just ask them what they're doing. I'm not worried about it.
I mean, if you want. I'm not going to.
Huh.
Eyeball
Well-
intel.
Let's go ahead and switch over to our friends that decided to go to the Narrows. So, as you're approaching the Narrows, it is in it's in the Twists, and it's still technically considered one of the nicer areas in town for a spa. And obviously, you know the reputation of it. The Narrows is named such because it is a very narrow bar. It starts at the front of a shop and goes, all the way to the back of it, about a good 40 feet, and tables and countertops along the way. But yeah, that is literally the reason why. As you approach, of course, it's same standard building, but this one does have a sign hanging over the door that reads the Narrows Tap Room. A couple heavies outside look you out up and down as you arrive.
I'd just nod to them and head on in.
I'm right on Beck's heels.
All right. Oh, and what time of day are y'all going in there?
Noon-ish.
All right. So during the day, it is much less crowded inside. There are a few patrons still that are, mulling over their drinks, but for the most part, it's just a bartender and two barmaids. And the bartender stays at the bar, fixing glasses while the barmaids work the different tables coming through. One of them will say, pretty much call out to you and say, "Take a seat anywhere, love."
Thank you. I think up at the bar shall work for us today.
Very good. Do you want me to help you, or are you going to the bartender specifically? I can get you some food if you like.
Oh, yeah, a couple of bay leaves would be excellent.
Very good, sir. And with a smile and a wink, she disappears off into the kitchen.
Beck would lean over to Coel and keep your eyes and ears open.
Got it. This seems like a little too... not nice, of course, but a little too normal.
It's a regular place for people to meet. It makes its money off the normality. It's a safe place.
You do hear the sound of a cook in the back. Is like, "Oh, guess I gotta start up the oven yet again." When they bring your order, she's like, "Oh, I didn't ask you anything specific. You can just give them some, You're overhearing the conversation before the bartender wanders over and says, "Anything I can get for you to drink?"
John, out of character.
Yeah.
Smelter was a rioter or a soother?
He's actually no powers.
So just an eyes man, an informant,
Yeah,
basically.
entirely eyes man informant, and pretty good at his job. Just as somebody that knew how to, blend in.
All right. Beck would lean forward. Oh, let's see. Something middle shelf. Just a whiskey for me. Cool. Anything for you?
Can you get me a screwdriver, please?
Absolutely. He provides you with both with a whiskey, uh, and yeah, it is in a fairly nice lead crystal, uh, you know, cup that he sets down in front of both of you. It's actually fairly nice for the digs here.
Beck will make sure to pay what that would be worth, as well as a little extra. And I'm looking to try to put together a crew for a job, and I find myself in need of some eyes and ears. Now, normally I'd reach out to Garrick, but he's not available. You know if anyone else is in town? You can snap that.
A couple different crews come through here. We can always put something together. Let them know as they arrive. How much time do you need?
Not looking for a crew, looking for an individual. We got about a 2 weeks heads up on this one.
Normally, I'd recommend one guy, but I haven't seen him around in a while.
Which one?
Guy named Smelter, old drunk that used to come in here all the time. Been gone for a while. Nice guy, sad case, Odd though that he hasn't been in over a week.
Odd in what way?
Just, he was a regular patron. Poor
Fair.
guy spilled some booze on one of Pierce's boys. They didn't like that one bit and sent him over to the bar and broke a few bottles of the good stuff. Griller had to come out from the back and yell that Meltzer had had enough, and that was a bit ago. And so we all, I guess maybe management told him that they had to cut him off.
Well, it sounds like Pierce's boys were the ones in the wrong there. I mean, did they break the neutrality of the grounds? You guys punished them for that, right?
Not any of my business. You'd probably have to ask someone a little bit higher than my pay grade for that. But I know that, unfortunately, Smelter is the one who ended up having to float the bill.
Yeah, makes sense. Right. Well, if you keep your ears open, let me know. Watch for those whiskeys, and I think my friend and I here are gonna just sit and think.
Okay. Is there anything in specific you're going to do, or are you going to wait for the rest of your group to arrive?
Beck's plan is just sit, keep an eye on who's going in and out, and wait for the group. Probably leave the bar and actually go get a table.
I was gonna say
was
he
there
may not
anything-
even realize that we're coming.
Was
Yeah,
there anything
but-
that Coel wants to do?
There's definitely a part of me that wants to ask the barman if he knows where Smelter normally hangs out. Yeah, especially since we don't necessarily know that the rest of the group are going to be coming anytime soon. I think when you get up to go to an actual table, Coel would start to get up, and then sort of I'll be with you in a second, and then turn back to the barman and say, this Smelter fellow, you said he was a regular, right?
Yes.
Would you happen to know roughly about where he lived? Any times you've had to haul him out of the bar after a few too many drinks in the early morning?
Not me. The thing is that in the end, Smelter rarely drank alone. And I've never had to carry him out. Somebody else always did it.
Interesting. Was the last time you saw him, was he alone?
Well, technically, no. I mean, I think he was actually talking with Pierce's group before the Narrowmen got involved.
Interesting. are any of Pierce's boys around regularly enough that you might be able to tell me when they'd be showing up next? Do you know?
Well, I can tell you where they are. You know, that's the thing. I mean, that's not difficult at all. I mean, they claim a pretty good sizable piece of property, and they've worked security here before, but pretty much security in this area and ensuring what this place is. He kind of winks at that. It's all overseen now by the Narrow Men.
Could you point me in the direction of Pierce's men, please?
Not much I'm going to be able to tell you, but if you talk to management and get access, and he points to the far end of the building, and there's a door that's marked private. Make your way back there. I guarantee that there might be some from Pierce's old crew.
Thank you. You've been very helpful. And then I'll head back over to Beck. And just before I make this way more harder for myself than it needs to be, I'll just kind of stand at the table, look at Beck and say, Beck, do you happen to know any of Pierce's men, where they might be?
John, putting you on the spot, what is Pearson and his group known for?
They are known as thugs. I mean, they're the wrong kind of security. The kind that really do show up and tell everybody, pay us protection.
Gotcha. Nah, you don't want anything to do with Pierce. He's not the type to pay well and take care of people. If Smelter had something going on with them, I don't understand why it would draw the attention of the nobles.
Right. And you wouldn't imagine Pierce and his men to be in the pocket of the nobles.
Too lowbrow for the nobles, would be my guess. They're more extortion racket. Basically, take the low-down ska and make them even lower down, kick them while they're down, take what they got.
With my resources 5, I don't know if this is too much of a stretch. Would I be able to kind of mentally map who I know of the nobility around here to see if that's as accurate as Beck thinks it is?
All right, rephrase that. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Sort of, the fact that I know enough about the nobility around here, if that's true, at least that's what I got from the character sheet, would I be able to leverage that resources standing to sort of mentally map out, okay, the people I know of would be over here, and this is where we are, and is this what Beck thinks it is?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do a resource check on that. But I know your character. That's going to be a 5 for your dice pool. Hmm. But I'm going to actually say that one of your drives for your traits is bury your past. And so that's actually going to be acting against you, bringing up stuff that you know about from the past. So I'm going to say it's going to be a standard difficulty 1, but your dice pool is going to be at a 4.
Okay, that's fine. Shooting in the dark as it is. Dropped one. Nothing. A 2, a 3, a 5, and a 6.
All right. Really,
Wow.
you know that that there's contraband that's gone through here, but you're so close to the gate. Honestly, you're not far from the Iron Gate at this point. You're actually not far from 2 gates. That it's possible that stuff coming in and out of cities made it through here, or stuff coming into the city ends up in this area just to get distributed elsewhere. It's really would take, you know, maybe flow mapping it to really figure it all out is where your brain ends up going.
Okay, that's definitely fair enough. Then I guess for the moment I'll just sit. I'll sit across from Beck and just sort of nurse my little whiskey and just wait for what happens.
All right. I'll go ahead and say that the rest of the group, you were able to complete your task at Doc Welder's quickly enough to get over here. So you do see the room as it is that I described and are able to see both Coel and your leader is sitting here.
Oh,
Cock an
fancy
eyebrow.
meeting you lot.
That was fast. Wasn't expecting you to meet us here.
The good doctor was rather forthcoming.
Well, and he sent us this way. Said we're looking for somebody named Griller.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently, he went by the shop to pick up some things for, Smelter. About a few days ago. Doc hasn't
Well,
seen
would you let
Smelter in a week.
the barkeep know that we'd like to have a quick word with Griller if possible?
Absolutely, and I'll get up to go do that.
All right. And also with during just really quick, making sure, did you, when you were saying any of that, mention Smelter out loud?
Me?
Yes.
I did.
All right. I need you to make
I wouldn't have known that that we weren't doing. I was talking to my friends.
Everyone here, if you want, you can all make a witch check versus a difficulty of 3.
Wits check?
Wits and nothing else.
If I will say that this has to do with observation skills.
All right, so can I get a bonus then for bodyguard? And it
Based
kind
on previous rolls and everything else and the way we've set it up, absolutely. Since you're watching the room, it's a skill that you're used to.
yeah,
I
you
just
learn to
got
watch
2.
the room and you get tired of getting hit all the time.
I got double 3 and a 6, but I don't think ties count.
I got
No, but a 6 push pushes that up to a 4. 4 minus 3 is a 1. So that would technically be a success.
I got
But who else?
a pair of 5s.
Pair of 5s. All right.
I just wanted to ask, would my profession burglar count for this, since I'm kind of scanning the room?
Because it's a storytelling style game, if you can make it describe, and obviously you're casing the room, I would say yes.
Yeah, I imagine that's one of those sort of sixth senses that's kind of brought her along this far. So even when it's better for her not to notice something, I imagine she's like kind of looking at all the little bits and bobs, shinies, the good and bad kind.
Okay. And so go ahead and make your wits roll with that bonus.
Okay. That is a pair of 5s.
All right. So for those of you that made the test, you realize that as soon as that is said, somebody tries to nonchalantly uh, rise from their chair. They don't even move the chair back. They just kind of, lean forward and get out of it and begin walking towards the entrance after the word smelter is said. With that, it's very possible they were listening in on the conversation.
Tharo Coel, after that person, get them once they get out the door. No breaking the neutrality of the grounds. Say, I think you and I should have a word with Griller.
Before
Oh, okay, what? Who's that guy? But whatever,
Someone
boss.
interested in
Yep.
Smelter.
Oh,
before I get up to follow, I'm going to take a hit off of my misting vial and start burning pewter.
All right. That said, we're going to do this as 2 different scenes, but I'm actually going to stay with the with those going to talk to Griller really quick first. So, How exactly are y'all two going to be going about this? Just walking up to the counter and asking to speak to Griller?
Well, Coel mentioned to the barkeep that we wanted to talk with him.
Okay. All right. So I'm actually going to say that Griller comes out, wiping his hands on a dish towel. He is a beefy and wide man, but he has kind of a easy manner and charm to him, uh, which is kind of funny considering that he is kind of slovenly dressed, greasy apron, and not surprisingly in this setting, yet another bowler cap.
So, I bet he's called Griller because he runs the grill. Looking at him, my first take was Growler. I think we should have called him Growler. You're a big
I've
bear
been
of a
cold
fellow,
worse,
lad.
he says as he walks up.
John, would I know, is Griller the owner of the Narrows, or just the cook, or...
One of. So, as far as like information, Griller is known in the community. He is, how can you not be in a neutral ground location? But the funny part is, he's also known for being taken in by the authorities a few times, gotten roughed up, and released. So he's known for not being a snitch. You know.
So, I actually was sitting here. Doc Welder gave me your name. Said that you picked up some things for an acquaintance, a mutual acquaintance of ours.
Yeah. It's not really. Why don't you come with me? I think I got the parcel you're interested in. Back this way.
I frown.
Whiskey and goes to stand up.
I frown, but clearly I've missed something. I go ahead and I tap one of my... Well, I had 3 charges in my vial, so I'm good. I just follow quietly.
Has it been 20 minutes since she downed the dose at the alchemy thing? Because the charges last for 20 minutes.
Oh, individually? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll take one of my vials.
All right. He leads you back through that private door, and he's like, "Yeah, it's just this way. Look, you're probably gonna need a couple. I guess maybe the 2 of you to get. Well, no. Look, I'll show you the package, and you can decide how many people you need to move." And he walks past a few security people. You go
I
upstairs.
look at Beck and I'm like, I don't lift.
And do you even lift, bro? Come on.
I don't.
You reach the landing. He's like, a few more steps down. Come on.
What condition is the parcel in?
Not good. But if you mentioned Welder's name, and quite frankly, he looks you up and down. He's like, look, I know your reputation. I mean, hell, the moment you walked in here, that door swung open. I looked out, saw you, and figured, oh, not the first time, I figured you should have been in here before now. But Beck, it's an honor to meet you. You got a pretty strong reputation behind you. He holds out a greasy hand to shake.
Beck will shake. My apologies for not stopping sooner. Business has been booming.
No problem. Look, y'all are far enough away from the stairs. Look, he's not good. And quite frankly, he needs to get out of here probably as soon as possible.
Any idea what it is?
Not a clue. He won't say anything, really. Hasn't been able to say much.
I don't have information that the doc shared, so Beck wouldn't ask it.
Yeah. What did you pick up from the doc for him?
He lists off a few medications, a few, just regular engines, and he's just like, stuff to deal with hangovers and Over drinking.
Well,
Curatives for the liver.
yeah, well, I mean, he shouldn't have been drinking. So Doc Welder said that he showed up over at the apothecary about a week ago asking for stuff to help undo the symptoms and the withdrawals, I guess, of drinking, because he had to do a job that he wasn't allowed to drink on. So if he started that job, then he shouldn't have been drinking by the time you went and got stuff for him.
Wonder if drinking is what might have caused this, if he wasn't supposed to be doing it?
Any idea what the job was?
Doc didn't know.
I know that he got taken in here by the Narrowmen. He got stiffed with the bill for all those broken bottles and for also everything with that one crew.
Pearson's
so-
boys?
Yeah. So I know that he was going to have to do some work to pay it off. That's about all I know.
Did you see him talking with anybody else in here?
Not since. They've kept... I mainly work in the back, but a little over a week ago he showed up feverish and sweating and passed out on my doorstep. Brought him in, and ever so often he comes out, but seems to go right back under. I've managed to keep him along this life, but he needs to get to the dock, and I think the Narrowmen are looking for him. They don't dare step foot in my apartment. It's been at least someplace safe for him.
I mean, generally, when my brother gets hangovers, he doesn't usually get a fever. Sweating and vomiting, sure, but not the fever part.
He shows up, and there's he walks you to the end of this hall, and at the door, pulls out a key, unlocks it, and opens it for both of you, and says, "And it's pretty simple, but come on in." He leads you into his flat, which has a sheet drawn across the far end of it. Pulls it back, and there you see Smelter.
What's he look
Unconscious,
like?
I take it?
Yes.
Is he yellow?
He is actually a little bit yellow.
Damn, I should have asked the doctor if anything. Well, he did say. Was it black tar? Do you know black? You know of black tar?
Black tar might not be... I've heard of black tack. I wonder if it's the same thing.
Either way, there was something that would also create the jaundiced appearance. Doesn't just have to be the alcohol. Could somebody be slipping ska or something else? I don't know for why.
Another drug in the... another drug moving through the city, I would not be surprised.
Well, and then there's this gang of heavies that seems to have gotten some influence over the area coming from this part of town. Maybe they're running.
Maybe. And we're going to pause right there really quick and move over to the other team. So, for Coel and Tharo, you're pursuing this individual. Let's see if you can get to him before he realizes that somebody's after him.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and I think a wits roll on that. And do y'all have any? Who wants to take, the lead on this?
I think I'll take the lead just because I'm probably faster. You probably hit harder, but I'm probably faster.
Yeah, no, agree.
Okay. So we'll let you start off, and wits. will be probably the base for it. Are there any traits or anything that you want to use on that?
Can we see him?
Absolutely. He's not that far away from you, not too far ahead, and he hasn't taken off running yet.
Okay, so he's not like full tilt or anything.
Yeah. Altogether, I'm gonna say it's like probably a 1 on the challenge rating right now.
Then again, just burglar. I have to imagine I'm pretty good at running from lots of people who don't
That
want me to have their stuff.
definitely would make sense. All right, so we'll start you off there with your wits, which is a 3 plus 1 for that. Is there anything else you want to do for Tharo to help with this?
I-
It's basically a pursuit moment.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna. While Coel is going directly after the person, I'm just gonna head towards the door and
Okay.
try to like cut him off from that direction.
Well, remember, Beck said not to do anything inside the building because of neutrality.
Oh, right. So I mean, we can't even stop it in the building.
Yeah, he said wait until he got out.
Yeah,
Okay, well
so
then I will. Okay,
just go outside.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Instead of posting or waiting inside the door, I'll wait outside of the door. And as soon as he comes out, just like clothesline him.
All right. And also in all this, I will say that to get storytelling games are a whole nother monster. Because you can actually add elements to the story to help the situation or whatever, such as, your character is obviously part of the muscle of the team, and you could charge out ahead as well and clear the way. Like maybe there was a carriage that was going to be in the way, and you run out in front of it and basically tell the driver to halt so that Coel could actually make it past. I mean, part of a storytelling
Right.
game is building those elements of story towards
Right.
a certain end. But so we'll go ahead and say with the bodyguard on there as well. That gives you all 5 dice for your pool. And I don't think you have any equipment that would also work with this.
Not me.
Yeah, but what I have, I can't use in the building. So
No problems. All right, so let's go with 5 dice to difficulties 1.
Okay, so just kind of to piggyback off of what you were saying earlier, so in a sense, we've all got a little drop of DM in us more than probably any other game, or at the very
Absolutely.
least, your classic D&D types. So when I see Toro kind of split off and head towards the door, I imagine this is something that we've done many times before, where we've had to cut somebody off at a door. So I kind of wonder, while I'm running up to him, a copper clip. I presume it's like a throwing knife.
Okay, so in this world, there is the ability. You obviously can use all magic for your powers, because
All metal.
all metal. You're a Mistborn, so everything else you can use. Mistings only can use 1 power. One of those neat things in there is a group called Coin Shots. And these are people who have the ability of steel, and they push on a metal and make it shoot out. They can actually push on any metal. They can use, and it can actually push their body. They can actually use it for flying. They can actually throw like something on the ground, push off of it with their power, and it propels them up into the air. And then they can, in your case of being, I'm just going to go overboard with the description here, just so you can get an idea. In the case of a Mistborn, you then could use iron to pull on other metal structures that are out in the city, and all of a sudden you see like there's an iron lightning rod on top of this
So-
building.
Yeah,
You then pull on that, and boom, you're shooting towards that now.
And the way that you know it, if you look at Ted's background, you see those blue lines? When you start burning either iron or steel, you see those lines kind of shoot out from you, Nobody else can see it, but that is directing you to the metal around you. And so the stronger the blue line is, the larger it is, or the more, maybe the closer it is, and the smaller it is, it might be smaller object or farther away. But you literally pull on those strings to propel yourself or the object. If the object weighs more than you, then you will move. If the object weighs less than you, it moves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so these clips would actually be weapons that are literally a sack of clips, copper clips, that you push on them and they become a weapon that shoots out from you.
Or the clips being the currency of the realm.
Yeah, they're
that's
coins.
That's why they're called coin shots, yeah.
Okay. So then my second question before I do something that I think my character would know is dumb, but I might not, is using these metal items in this way going to be a sort of like, hey, look at me, I'm doing Mistborn stuff. I am a Mistborn.
If you're only doing the coin shot, then they would just think you're a misting. They wouldn't necessarily pen you as a Mistborn. But if you start doing coin shots and pulling and do pewter stuff, then then they'd flag you as a Mistborn.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And right now, the idea, at least inside the building, is to not stand out for any reason.
Gotcha.
But you take him into an alley outside where you don't have a lot of eyes on you, then it would be a lot more discreet, essentially, just like with anything.
Then last question before I actually finally do something. Does his boots have metal buckles?
Usually not. Metal is one of the things that's a little bit harder to come across. But because of the time period and the style that things were in, it would not be unusual for there to be nails of some sort holding in portions of their boots.
Could I pull on his boot so it looks like he trips out of the doorway?
Nice.
Absolutely, yes. And nobody would know what you were doing, really, except for you.
Okay, then with all of that information, would I need to use one of my Mistborn vials for this?
I believe so, yes, correct? Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean,
in
everybody has
the
a
book,
little bit of metal in there just from the diet. But if you want to have command of like multiple metals and make sure that you've got, access to everything, I would say probably go ahead and take a nip from your vial.
And the thing in the player handbook, it does specify that one charge, like one hit off of it, is going to last 20 minutes. So it's not like you need to do a hit for every time you do an ability. At least that's how I understood it.
That is correct.
Okay, awesome. Then yes, I would love to take a hit off of my vial, grab whatever's going to be more substantial, the iron in the blood around the leg or the nails in the boot, and again, I just want to make it look like he whoops right into Thoro's arms.
Yeah.
Not
And
the way he would like to be.
It would have to be the boots, and I'll explain this because this is something that probably
just
even the
quickly,
viewers
just
who are not
briefly.
familiar with Mistborn would know. Anything that is inside the body, metal, even those shots that you take, nobody can actually do allomancy on it. Anything that's inside your body, so they can't affect your blood. They can't affect anything that you swallow. And so, yeah, you would not actually be able to do that to his foot, but to use it on his, seeing the faint trace of the nails in his shoe, to pull on that would be completely possible. So let's go ahead and let's start that off. It would be your all metals rating of 4, and then on top of that, we're any traits that you can get with there. Which also, this could be a little bit fun to go ahead. Thoro, you were going to clothesline him when he came out the door.
Yeah.
So we'll use that for a bodyguard, putting you at 5. Is there anything that either one of you can think of that would add anything else? And usually you're trying to stick with traits. It could be equipment. If you have a piece of equipment as well, Thero, that you think would fit the situation.
Yeah, my spear's not exactly going to fit the situation because we're not trying to kill him. At this
Yes.
point, at least.
Unless you want, I'm going to toss this out there as a
Okay.
GM in building the story situation, using the spear to clothesline him, using the rod of the spear.
That's true.
That it is a piece of equipment. It would be used for the situation. It would give you that +1.
Or if I'm, instead of clotheslining, if I'm going to use the spear, I would be a little more subtle and just use it to trip him. Like whack him in the kneecaps.
Yeah, as he's going down already. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to convince him to stay on the ground.
Well, since I'm burning pewter, that whack could definitely keep him on the ground.
Just a little burn, just like a 10% burn.
All right, and so we're going to say 6 dice total.
Okay, and that's me rolling, just to be sure?
Yes.
Okay. Lucky Shadowrun dice, don't fail me now.
Nice.
Okay, so that's 2 3s and 2 6s.
All right,
Nice.
so I would have set the difficulty at a 1 because he was not aware of what's going on, and obviously with the Mistborn ability going on. So 1, and you said it was 2 3s and 2 6s?
Yes, 2 3s, 2 6s.
Yeah,
1
so
1
four.
and 1 5.
That puts you at a 3, minus the 1 puts you at a 2. And then each one of those 6s counts as a push. So that's 2 going up to a 3, going up to a 4. So that puts you at, let me find the specific word. It's obviously a success, but the wording of that success is that is an astounding success. So taking this situation plus the burning of pewter to build the narrative, I'm going to say that you trip him up as he's going out the door, and he's tripping. The spear comes out, whacks him on the knees, and you hear something possibly break, and he stumbles and flies out away from the door quite a bit. You both go up and grab him. Technically, he's taken a point of damage, and in this game, all simple mooks are out of a fight at 1 point of damage. So,
Still alive, though.
a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, it's again, it's that narrative style of gameplay where we can do stuff like that, which I like.
So I'm going to look at Coil and be like, all right, we stopped him, but what do we do with him now? We can't drag him back into the place. Do we just take him in the alleyway?
Let's take him 1 or 2 alleyways down, just in case anybody comes looking for their buddy.
Oh, I'm going to be like, oh, so sorry. I didn't see you there. You must have had way too much to drink. Come on, Coil. Let's help get him somewhere safe where he can sleep this off.
Yeah, you've had a little too much to drink. If you try to run from us again, we can do much worse.
As we're walking away, like, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
All right. And so usually I'd go ahead and bring y'all back, but I think Ted had to step away for a moment. So we'll go ahead and say, "Oh, you're good." He speaks from the ether.
Speaks from the void.
He speaks from the mist.
Ah!
Okay. So going back in, now that the one individual that could drop a hint has been taken out, what are you two going to do?
So I think Beck would say, do your thing, see if you can get him around. And then he's going to head back out and see if he can find a messenger boy to send back to his shop so someone can bring his carriage around.
You want me to bring who around? Bring what around?
See if he can wake Smelter up and get any information
Oh,
from
okay.
him.
Okay.
And then Beck's basically going to send a runner to go get the carriage so we can discreetly get him out of here.
So yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna try to wake up Smelter, see if I can get him to talk a little bit. And I will tug on his emotions again to try to get him to trust me. Although if we've worked together before, then it shouldn't be too hard. But
All right. I'm actually going to say that because of the situation with the amount of pain he's in and everything else, let's go ahead and make this a test.
sounds good.
So, with you tugging on him, that's going to be the base of 5.
Yep.
And what else are we going to do to try and motivate? The two of you together can use different abilities, whatever.
Well, Beck is off. He left.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't realize that.
But yeah, I'm going to. I actually think I'm going to use again my con woman. Just not necessarily that I'm conning him, but again that I have the ability to inspire other people to confide in me. If I can get him awake, and if he looks at me and we've done work, I'm going to say that we have history a little bit. You know, we've worked together before. I'm going to make some disarming innuendo, make little jokes, and see if I can't get him to also, through the pain and the haze of sickness, see if I can't encourage him to talk to me a little bit and say things like, come on Smelter, it couldn't have been that bad.
Can you also apply confidence? Like, you're confident that you can bring him around.
Oh, yeah,
Technically, you could.
GM, can I?
Yes.
So can I use my con woman, confidence, and disarming innuendo to add to my?
I want to hear that disarming innuendo for this, though.
Well, I'm gonna be like, oh come on, Smelter, don't act like you can't remember. It wasn't that bad.
You've never had trouble getting up before.
It could be worse. You could have the pox.
You could have the pecker pox, but then I wouldn't be laying in this cot with you. So, what do you got?
Let's go for it. So 5 plus 3. I'm setting the difficulty at a 2 for him to wake up, though, and be anything.
Sounds good.
Really.
Could I also argue, we know some of his traits. Could we take advantage of one of his traits for an additional 1?
Ooh. You know what? That is another part of the mechanics, and so yes, you could.
So maybe promising to get him healthy again so he can get back to his drink or to his gin and whatever it is.
Yeah,
Drunk is
you
one of his
gotta
traits.
you gotta get better if you want another drink. I know. I just need to know about this job that you've been running that you couldn't drink on. I mean, what kind of job is that, right? I even get to drink on all my jobs. All them. All right. So give me a second.
The only drawback to dice pool games is like, oh, I got to sort through the 5,000 dice I just rolled.
Okay, so my highest doubles, I got 4 sets of doubles, but they were all different. My highest set of doubles was a 5, and then I got 1 push. So 4, I think would be what that is, because it was a 2, right? So 5 minus 2 is 3 plus 1 is 4.
That is correct.
But I got doubles on 1s, 2s, and 3s as well. So.
See, that's what you want. All right, so he smiles, but at the same time as you two are trying to get up and he is walking, he's like, get this thing out of me, he says through gritted teeth.
Whoa, buddy, whoa. What do you mean? What's in you?
He leans up against the wall and lifts up his shirt on his side, and you see a swollen area there is a sign of an incision and a lot of swelling.
Okay, we can do I take him out the back?
Absolutely.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't take him out the front through all the stuff. When did you get that? Was this part of your job?
Yeah. And it's obviously he's in a great deal of pain, and if not for your pushing or dealing with his emotions, it would be a lot worse.
Okay, we're gonna try to get that out of you as fast as possible, but Beck is bringing the carriage around, and we'll get you in. All right, we'll take you straight to Doc Welder.
Okay. So I'm going to we're going to push the narrative along here just a moment. We are getting near that 5:30 to 6 o'clock mark where we try and start to wind down. But you managed to get him out the back door, and the carriage is there. Beck, you are there, and you all load up into the carriage. I'm guessing you're going to go back to Doc's place, correct?
That's my recommendation.
On arrival with the doctor, for Doc Welder, he sees the cart come up, and he walks out expecting it to possibly be a noble or something like that. Sees the group of you, sees Smelter. He's like, "Get him in here immediately." And there's a moment of just speed and panic. Probably a little bit. It's catching all of you for the moment. He wants information. Things are just coming out. It's like we need. He said something about it being in him, and he showed me this thing. And Doc rolls him onto his side, sees this, and is like, "Well, we've got to open him up. We can't. Whatever this is, we got to get it out of him."
So I would argue real quick, Beck would make sure that Tharo does stay in the carriage with our unconscious friend.
Okay. Well, this would be Doc wants him inside to do surgery.
No. The
No,
Riverman.
The
The
thug.
guy that we kneecapped.
Oh,
The Narrow Man.
all right. And through all this, so Doc begins his surgery, and it would have been interesting if y'all had tried this on your own. The way it runs, I will say I am using an adventure from the books. It's actually a difficulty level 5 for the surgery. Thankfully, the doc doesn't need to make a roll with that, and after a couple hours, he finishes it up within an hour. Within the hour, and it's like now we just need to, let him heal up a moment. Hopefully, his body is able to fight this off. But his arms are covered in blood, and he presents you with a small package. Appears to be some sort of wrapped in some sort of lining, possibly a rubberized organ from an animal, and dripping out of it is a blackish ooze.
You.
That's not what you want.
After a couple hours, though, Smelter does finally wake up and is available for questions. So, do y'all want to ask a few questions really quick with him? Or would y'all rather me go ahead and narrate this out for an end?
I mean, the major question that Sena has is, who'd you do a job for, and tell us where we can never find them.
The Narrowmen, they hired me to smuggle tack. I thought I was supposed to swallow it and, it'd make it its way out eventually. They had other ideas and wanted to try out something new on me.
They had you muling tack inside your body?
Ever since they put it in, I've been so sick. The Howler approached me and he kept me calm while a woman in a mask did this. He gestures to his side. She smiled when I cried out, and yeah. He kind of blanches at that, like it was probably under no anesthesia or anything when this happened.
That's no good.
Can you tell us, what did this mask look like? Was it particular in any way?
Just cloth over her mouth and nose.
Where was it at, Smelter?
Where's what at?
Where'd they do it? Were you blindfolded, sack over the head, or do you know where you went?
Someplace not too far from the Narrows. Look, I need your help because, quite frankly, me being in hiding and getting sick and them not getting their package, it's a death sentence. I didn't want to put that on Griller, and he's been good to me. And he kind of starts blubbering and crying. Even if you fix me up, I'm a loose end. Nothing can change.
Oh, well, fuck that. We'll take care of them. These narrow...
We've got a safe place you can hide out once the doctors are cleared to go. No one knows you're here. We were discreet about that. Matter of fact, we have one of your friends out in the carriage that we're going to go have a word with. Once Doc clears you, you get to our safe house.
Okay.
For as many
Smoke-
crews as you work with, I can't believe nobody else has offered you a safe house besides Griller.
Nobody wants to take on the narrow men. They've got a reputation for going after the people you love.
Most of the people I love are in this room. I say, we'll deal with that.
Okay. That said, I'm gonna leave it up to the table. You have the opportunity to go after. He provides the location, and so does Mr. Kneecaps. You have the opportunity to go after Howler if you would like. How do y'all want to wrap up on a combat scene, or would y'all like to go ahead and call it here?
Leave it up to you
I'm
guys. I'm good with whatever.
yeah, I'm good with rapping here. But if we want to do combat, we can also do that. I don't think I'm very useful in combat, but
I understand. That said, just let's go ahead and we'll call it here, and we'll rave on.
narrate us out. Narrate our heroic defeat, our heroic conquest of Howler and his narrow men.
Well, thankfully, Howler isn't much of a fighter either. But he is now a little bit known in the area, but his power is specific to affecting emotions, and he is very good at it.
He's like what Sev does, right? He soothes.
Yeah. He's really good at it, but the thing is that there's more than just one or two of you. As you make your way in there, taking out his lieutenants, it's this heroic moment as you attack from different locations, probably. Maybe one of you draws his attention, knowing that more than likely that's the person Howler's going to affect first. And Spear takes out his assistant, and a obsidian dagger strikes from the back and kills Howler. All the while, he thinks that he's got the upper hand while trying to control, more than likely, Beck at the front door.
Yeah, it probably actually would have been Coel, because since they're Mistborn, they can be a smoker, which means you can't have your emotions manipulated by them.
Ah.
Yeah. And probably definitely being
No.
the pewter thug, I would have just, if we're not being too stealthy about it, I mean, I would have been the tank and just through the front doors and just throwing haymakers while everybody else is just darting in and out, stabbing, coin shotting.
Nope. The plan Beck probably would have come up with is Coel going after Howler. Since as a Mistborn, they can use bronze to figure out exactly where he is, and also use the copper to not be affected by the emotional elemency. And then Beck probably would have just had Tharo's back, because Beck actually is a decent fighter, despite not having any powers.
Saw
So
that
regular
dueling cane.
people,
Yeah.
yep. So regular people Beck could help take on and leave any thugs or pewter arms to Tharo.
Yeah, that dueling cane is pretty awesome.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, they are.
Explaining to viewers and people new to the system yet again, all damage is always 1 point of damage unless you are using a item. So, technically, most forms of damage are just going to be, like I said, with the standard mook, 1 point of damage knocks them out. More dangerous opponents is going to take a lot more damage. That sword cane is +2. So not only is it your 1 point of damage, but it's +2 on top of that.
So if I was burning pewter and someone's trying to attack me without a weapon, then they're actually not doing anything. They're just beating on a wall.
Yeah.
Because it reduces all damage by 1 point. But dueling canes, spears, whatever would be owie.
And so this is Mistborn. This is the style of game this is. For those of you who are watching, this is much more the feel of storytelling I like in a game. I'm not, you know, I enjoy games like BattleTech and like Dungeons and Dragons, even though those are battle simulators that became role playing games. They were primarily about moving your pieces around a map. This is a game where it's all about creating and constructing a story and giving narrative control to my players. At any time, your players are able to interject portions of the plot and explain what it is their characters are doing. You're giving a lot more, uh, what's the word I'm looking for here? But basically, a lot more personal control of your character. You're deciding a lot more of what it is your character is interacting with in the environment and literally creating the environment alongside the GM. That back door, I had not thought of for the building, but the moment you said we were going to take them out the back door, well, guess what? There's a back door now.
Of course, there's a back door.
There's probably many doors in reality, but that's not something.
Back
That's
doors,
not.
tunnels.
Yeah, that's not where my brain was at the time.
Roof
So
hatches. I mean,
this is the way a storytelling game goes, and I enjoy it a lot because I think it puts the role play emphasis. It changes it up so much, and especially in a setting where this is technically a classless setting. Uh, Even as a Mistborn, you can be more than just a Mistborn. Even as a human who technically is not the normal hero, you have an opportunity to do whatever with your character. And so, yeah, I have absolutely enjoyed this. And the adventure that we ran today is from one of the books. This is actually from their newest book that came out for Crafty Games. It's Ska, Tin, and Ash. So the first portion of the book contains information about the Ska, their society, and gives a little bit more information in that method, and then builds on top of that so that the second portion of the book is actually this adventure. And even though the team has just gone after one bad guy, there's actually a greater story here going on and more things that are going to fight. The way this setting is written is actually uh, the Narrowmen will come after the people in your life. Like they are technically they would come after Beck's family. They would have if Sev was not a player in this game, or while he was away. If Sena was a part of this game, they would have gone after him and kidnapped him or done something. And there's always that warning that quit messing with us, kind of thing. So yeah, if you enjoyed this game and are thinking about running it for a table of your own, that is exactly where you can find this adventure. Or if you just want to know how it ends, go pick up the book and give it a read. But other than that, I think that's kind of, a good ending point. Does anybody have anything they want to add or say about the system? Your all thoughts so far for the day?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really, what is the favorite moment of D&D? I mean, for me, it's when you're getting the larger and larger pool of dice for Fireball. I mean, who doesn't love it when there's that 10d6 or 10d4, depending on what system you're using, dice being tossed out on the table, and yeah.
I mean, I got to do that for the very first roll today.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, if you like, yeah, definitely, because I mean, being one of the primary games I play, I mean, at the most, I'm rolling 2 dice at a time, and so getting a chance to roll 8, 9, 10 is definitely fun. And I really enjoy the fact that with the way this is set up, one person is rolling. It's everybody can add into that pool, and that's even better for the storytelling.
Yep.
Not
And sorry, please.
not just the storytelling, but as well, I know, having been a forever DM, this is probably one of the few games I could probably count all the amount of games I've been a player in on one hand. Um, and with this system, it feels really nice because there's not really gonna be a moment, other than when you're not in the scene with someone else, that you're gonna go, oh well, okay, here's my one die. Oops, it wasn't good enough. That's me until I come
Exactly,
back
yeah.
around.
Yeah,
There's this feeling of like I felt like we were a team pretty much the whole time. And sure, with these pre-made characters, there was all those little bits and strings that you could pull, but I feel like that would be really easy to just, if we all sat down for a session zero, I feel like we could do that ourselves.
For sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
very
And
easily.
that's one of the things, like with the storyteller games that have been coming out recently. Uh, there are systems where everybody's a main character, and it's so hard to come up with a unified direction. This is definitely a game where I feel like everybody can be a main character in a story and really come together.
yeah.
So, Alex Flagg, who is the game system designer for this game, dude, massive kudos. Thank you so much for making this and giving us the opportunity to play. At one time, Alex was actually going to try and join us on the show to play with us. We would have loved to have him. Maybe next time. So, guys,
Oh, so good. Oh,
yeah,
there's a
Love the
second
second
trilogy
trilogy.
that's being completed, and then he's got another trilogy after that planned out.
yeah, and they've already released the book for the second trilogy for this role playing game. It's called The Alloy of Law, and it's set in that time period. So, which is after.
With Wax and
Can
Wayne.
can I can I can I drop I mean, it's not really a spoiler if we're moving on to the third thing, but can I? Can I drop that? That what the big, like, linchpin is?
I'd hold off for now,
Okay,
just in case people do want to look it up
go read it.
I haven't read any of the Mistborn books.
or listen to it on graphic audio.
Now I want to know what, because I've read so much of it. I want to know what the linchpin is because I'm not sure what you're referencing.
He's referencing the end of book one.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Alright.
don't. Yeah, we should spoil that.
Alright, well, we'll go ahead and call it there, and, hey, thank y'all so much for coming out, and we will see you for the next one. Seriously, Let's Play comes back next week, and, hey, come on out tomorrow and watch, Rue run the Illuminated Page Horror on the Orient Express tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern, correct? All right, guys. Thank y'all so much. Night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.